at you, kid. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
I'll have what she's having.
Boss will be with you, always.
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the apex of the season. The final episode, or is this like the denouement? Either way, this is the last episode before we launch everything. So I thank you for joining this live rendition of Gone with the Wind. We're going to be ranking our top 10 of the year, our best films of 2020/2021. Finally, we had an emergency episode last week, and now we are bringing it to you all again this week. Ready for our last week before we take a brief hiatus that you all know out there first. But before we begin, I hope y'all are ready because it's time to cue the music. That's it. I literally put that together 3 seconds before. I realized we did not have it, so I decided to actually put it in before I forgot. Welcome to the show, everybody. To Gone with the Wind, the show about award shows where we talk about, you guessed it, award shows. But I'm not alone today. We have some special guests, but let's first talk to the panelists that we have grown to know and love. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the man who loves Mamma Mia 2 almost as much as he loves Shrek 2. Which one does he love more? Let's ask him right now. Abe, which one do you love more?
I love more Pulp Fiction.
Oh, well, that's not.
That's what I love the most.
That was not the. No, Mamma Mia 2 or Shrek 2.
Have you seen Lily James' legs? No, I have to say Shrek 2.
Oh, but better say, but have you seen Shrek as a human, though? I mean,
my friend says I look
man.
like him.
Nope, you do not.
No, I know.
No, you do not. Abe is here, everybody. Say hello.
Hi, how are you? I'm doing great.
We're doing good, Abe. We're doing good, Abe. And also, we have another panelist. We have Dan,
Everybody, say hello.
Alan.
Hi, how are you?
Nope.
Great. We're doing good, Abe.
Well, I'm hearing myself now.
And also, we have another panelist. We have Dan. Everybody, say hello.
Alan. Uh-oh. Mayday.
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 This is not good.
And also, we have another panelist.
Okay, well, we'll have some technical difficulties right now as he is currently finishing this up at the moment. Don't know what that was over there. We're having some slight echo delay. So Dan's going to finish that up at the moment. You good, Dan? Just give me a thumbs up. Nope. Okay. Weird. I'm going to kick you back out so you can finish that. No idea what that was.
I think he wants you to kick you out.
Nope. Okay. Weird. I'm going to kick you back out so you can finish that.
I'm going to kick you back out 1 second, Dan. 1 second, Dan. All right. So I kicked him back out. So come back in a second. We're going to try that again. Tech issues, everybody. In the meantime, everybody, here's our special guest. We have everybody from Picture This, from the Dill Pickle Movie Network. We have Dylan. Hello there.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be talking awards. It's been the longest award season ever, so I'm very excited to be wrapping it up with a nice little ribbon.
Oh, perfect. Fantastic. I'm glad you were on here. I remember we were together for a Rankum, and I'm like, wow, this guy and Chad. Chad will joining us later, as well as Malcolm. I remember seeing them and be like, wow, these guys know their stuff. I want them on. And I thought, what better way than have an extravaganza like this? We'll have to condense it down, of course, because we have a time frame we have to go through. But I wanted to try to bring a melding of the minds together for these different shows, because you guys do a show that is similar in a vein. You guys go through a year and talk about what transpired. This is, again, a top 10 best of the year. So we're going to do something akin to that. So we're glad to have you, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. And, our show is just the nominees that are nominated. So it's going to be nice, this show, to be able to talk about all the other movies that didn't get nominated that we would nominate. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And again, all right, we have added Dan. Did we fix it? No? Maybe?
Hold on.
No.
Hey, I don't know what the heck was going on, Manny. That echo was driving me bananas.
Oh, I heard it. I heard it over there too. I was like, "Wow, is that how I sound? I don't like it." No, can I get a redo?
You don't sound, you don't sound that good.
No,
I've never seen an echo that bad ever.
Well, the good news is we are past that. We are good. We are all set. Until, of course, Malcolm is finishing up something right now with Full Metal. He should be joining us momentarily. And, of course, Chad is finishing up a couple of, I believe, a D&D campaign, which I don't blame him. I would like to do that myself. Moving right along over there. Today, we are all here to talk about and discuss the top films of this past year. And by this past year, I mean 2020 with a little bit of 2021. We're going to go to the Oscars. Since this is, of course, an Oscars bench show, the show about award shows, we talk about, award shows. You know the saying. So today, are y'all ready to do this?
Yeah, we got a calendar, though. We're going to go off the Oscars calendar.
Yes.
The 28th of February of 2021.
That is correct. Yes, we're going from the January 1st of 2020 up to February 28th in 2021. So we'll make sure we'll have that. And it has to be a wide release at that point. It can't be like a little bit here and there. It had to have been a wide release, which Dylan asked me. Well, again, to clarify, he asked about a couple films that they were on his list. They didn't have a wide release until 2020. So they, of course, count. Limited release the year prior, but wide release in 2020. So if you see some of those and you're like, wait a minute, hold your horses. We clarified it beforehand. All right. So how this works is we are going to go, to make this as quick as possible, we're going to go 2-2-2-2, and we're going to make it as brisk as we possibly can. And if there's a movie that is on one of our lists, we're going to say, take it to later. We're going to say, no, take that to later. Talk about it later. So that is how we are going to, and that's how we're going to push a discussion back farther so we can kind of condense it down to a singular film when we're talking about it. Because I know we're going to have, there's bound to be crossover. As crazy as this year was, there's going to be crossover. So I will start us off as the host so we get a feel for everything. And I'm excited because we've been trying to do this episode for way too long. And finally, we get the chance to do it. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Gone with the Wind top 10 of 2020/2021. All right. And again, honorable mentions will be done later. But my number 10, and this is going to change almost every other day because this and 9 and 8, really, these kind of three want to shift around. But my number 10, it might be shocking that it's this low, but number 10 is Promising Young Woman.
Hold on.
Is that? Yep. I figured. Everyone, okay, if anyone has an objection, just raise your hand and we'll say objection. We're talking about it later. Does everyone have an objection? Dylan, do you?
Yes.
I do not have an objection, but I know Chad does. So I'll speak on Chad's behalf. I know Chad has it higher, so I will.
Perfect.
Yep.
Abe has an objection. Dan has an objection. So we're not going to talk about that right now. And my number 9 is, this one may not have any objection whatsoever. Number 9 of the year is Collective. Is anyone... No objection.
Honorable mention.
Okay. And I'm
what
not
movie did
Malcolm.
you say? I'm sorry, I lost you.
Collective.
What's that movie? I don't know.
It's the Oscar-nominated documentary foreign language film about that one.
Yes.
No, I know not a lot of people have seen it. It is one of those with a wide release of this past year, 2020. It is a phenomenal, not only a phenomenal foreign language film, a phenomenal documentary. I love this film as someone who who works in journalism and is a photojournalist. I appreciate the work that the behind the scenes look and the work that these journalists do to uncover something as kind of sinister and rampant as governmental corruption. And what they do and the links that they go, because they're a sports magazine at the end of the day. And what they do and they manage to come up with as we follow them, not only follow them, but also as we follow as we follow like the actual government themselves and how misinformation and disinformation is used to just kind of take the people we thought could have changed and realize they have no power. It is just a phenomenal classic documentary, but at the same time, we are following them the entire time. And it's just, it is a genuinely well-made film. And I implore anyone to give it a watch if you have any interest in journalism whatsoever, just a really good film, because it got nominated for a foreign language film and a documentary feature this past year at the Oscars for a reason. you guys have any thoughts you want to add to that? Notes on your honorable mentions, Dan.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Absolutely. I have it on my honorable mentions. I have another couple documentaries. That one is really, it was shocking that it shouldn't be shocking that this stuff is going on because it's gone on in our country. So why wouldn't it go on in other countries? And it's the corruption and it's just disgusting. It is. But it's what a great job of journalism by these people.
It is, and massive props to them. So that's kind of how we're going to do things. We're going to do two at a time, give a quick brief thoughts on it. So we're going to go to my, well, it's opposite over here. So we're going to go to my right. So we're going to go Abe. Hit us up. What is your top 10 and 9 of this year?
Okay, number 10. Mac, David Fincher. I think I could have.
I don't have it in my.
No, I don't have it either.
Nobody.
I did like it though.
Okay. I also like it. I will go to say I love it, but I don't love a lot of things this year, so it's gonna be hard like to make a case for so many things. But like the thing with Mank is that I watched it twice. The first one I was like, I think it is. But as I watched it the second time, it truly started getting better with me. I think how Fincher frames the movie, if you would say so, like put it in an era of old Hollywood and everything. Like it really took, and it made me look things up. And I think I'll still need to watch it more and make more research to fully appreciate it. But as the movie, I think the movie starts kind of weak. Honestly, like I think that takes you out of the movie at the beginning, but when it starts rolling, you start getting into the character of Mank himself and the little reference to what Citizen Kane ended up being, and that scene when he's drunk at the end. I really love that from Gary Oldman, and I think Amanda Seyfried is really good. It's Lily Collins, if I'm not mistaken. Like I think it really works together, and honestly, like I wouldn't say I love it as I mentioned, but I really liked it. Like out of all of the things I really appreciated, that's why it's my number 10. Okay, number 9, which I think nobody will have. What's number 9? Freaky. Have you guys watched it? Okay.
I have seen it. It's very good. It's on
my.
my.
Which one is that again? Not a big fan of Freaky.
Yeah, it's a body swap horror movie with Vince Vaughn. Okay, you guys may think I'm crazy right now, and you will later. But like, I truly enjoy horror movies. Like, there's something about them, like, and especially when they don't take themselves too seriously because they know what they are, and this truly does that. Like, I was fully entertained the whole time, and that's the most important thing for me in movies. Like, was I entertained? That's the whole point. Like, that's why I want to spend my 2 hours. And Freaky was that for me. And like Catherine Newton, right? Yeah, Catherine Newton and Vince Vaughn, like how they Vince Vaughn is incredible. Like, I think it's the best work he has done. Like, I don't know, since Old School, maybe. Like, I haven't loved a lot of Vince Vaughn work later, so that one truly surprised me, and that's why it's my number 9. And I love horror. I noticed that later in my life. Like, I truly enjoy horror movies, and and it also brings back to the slasher movie genre that we usually don't get good ones out of it, and this is one of those. So
him as a teenage girl was just ridiculous. I mean, her as a psycho killer was great, but him as a teenage girl was just like, give me a break.
That's what makes it great.
I know.
Like, if you're able to, it's with every movie. If you're able to embrace it, like, you can enjoy it. But like, if you don't embrace it at the beginning, like, it's probably not gonna work for you. Like with any movie.
No. I did like Mank, Abe. I love the craft of making movies and the whole behind the scenes stuff, all that stuff, the black and white, the sound of Mank. There's a lot of great things. The set production. I really did like a lot about Mank.
Technically, it was something that I look back and like, this is fantastic. And that drunk scene, you're right, is something I love. But we have someone else we want to add on this list right now, making his debut on the Gone with the Wind podcast. We have Chad West.
Oh, who, me? Oh, hey guys.
Yes, you, sir.
Oh, sorry, I'm late.
Oh no, oh no, Chad, your powers have kicked Abe off. Oh no.
Did you slay the dragon?
Yes. Yep.
I hope your D&D campaign was successful. But so far right now we're still waiting on Malcolm. But now we're still gonna go in the order with my boxes. So and we're going boxes. We're gonna go with our right now, Chad. So far I have gone and Abe has gone. So now we are with Dylan. So Dylan, our special guest, we're gonna go Dylan and then Dan and then Chad and then with Malcolm he'll go after Chad. So Dylan, take us away on your number 10 and 9. And of course, Chad, to let you know, if of course that something is on your list that is higher, just object, raise your hand up and just object and say talk about that later. So.
Hold on.
Yeah, Chad, we already objected a choice on your behalf that Manning had at number 10 that I know you have higher on your list.
Oh, everyone objected. Everyone objected.
So my number 10, it's actually technically a 2019 release, but it got a wide release in 2020, and that is The Assistant. And this is one of those movies that, like Promising Young Woman, which we saved for later, like Never Really, Sometimes Always, it's one of those movies that has very heavy themes, but I think this was one of the most successful. It's actually, according to my list, it's the most successful one at doing so. Just the level of empathy, but not ever trying too hard to really hammer home those themes. They just keep it really natural, really simplistic, and it almost makes it even more impactful for me. I mean, Julia Garner. I haven't seen Ozark, so this is my first time seeing her in anything. So I was just a big fan of this movie and of her in that movie. And, everything's just so simple and, I loved it. So that's my number 10.
Yeah, good movie. Not a great movie, in my opinion.
I have yet to see that, but now I know that was one of the films you had, of course, sent to me, and I was very curious now because I've heard great things. But I'm gonna have to give it a chance now after you.
Yeah, it's interesting because it got low audience Rotten Tomatoes scores. So did Never Really, Sometimes Always. I think it's one of those movies that some people just aren't vibing with, but some people I think treat it a little bit unfairly. Didn't need to give it that low of a score. But my number 9, sticking with the documentary train from earlier. I have another documentary. I don't know if any of you had it. Dick Johnson is Dead is my number 9. Okay.
No.
This was my favorite documentary of the year. I just, in the midst of COVID and just, death is such like a looming thing for so many people and illness and sickness. So to see a movie that almost not embraced it, but kind of treated it from a different angle and a really profound examination on death. I just thought it was a very interesting documentary. I think the central character, Dick Johnson himself, well, not character, but person, is just such a lovely human being, and the relationship that him and his daughter have. It's probably the most heart and soul put into any of these movies on my list, just between her and her father, just that harmony between them. It's just a beautiful movie. It's a little out there at times, but I liked it a lot.
Oh my God. I just not like this movie at all. I just don't see why people like this. I just don't see it. It's just my opinion. I just don't see why people like this.
It definitely wasn't my favorite documentary of the year, but I enjoyed it.
It has been on my Netflix queue for some time, and I keep wanting to see it. The subject matter in and of itself is something that is close to home, so I'm really curious to see how they play with that and what they do with that, because I love a good documentary, so I'm all for it. I've already had one documentary on my list. This is not the last time. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, and I just think for the bottom of my list, I wanted to kind of give a little bit more variety because the top of my list is kind of the ones you'd expect. So I wanted to put a few in there, maybe that you all haven't heard of, or maybe a few people have seen. So there you go.
And my thing too is I'm not the biggest. I'm not big with comedy. Things are considered funny. I just don't usually consider them funny. So that's part of my problem with Dick Johnson.
You don't like comedy, Dan? Dan.
Yeah, comedy is rough for me. Sorry.
All right. No, it's okay. Dan, are you ready to give us your 10 and 9?
Yeah. My number 10 is a movie that really got me thinking about life and your place in life and everybody's place in life. And not trying to go out of the box too much with your life and kind of focus on the things that you love and the things that you care about and kind of stay in your lane, so then you're not struggling with your own life, like why aren't things better for me? Why, if you just stay into the things that you love and the things you like and the things that make you feel good, then maybe that'll make you have a better life. And that movie is Soul. And Soul.
Later.
I was about to say we have 2 objections from both Abe and Dylan. And also we have both 2 objections, and we have a Malcolm. A wild Malcolm has appeared.
Malcolm in the middle.
He's on the side, but it's correct. You're right, Dylan. Malcolm, welcome. I hope. Oh, he's frozen. Malcolm, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me, but I might be frozen.
We can hear you. We cannot. Yeah. We just see a frozen Malcolm.
Yeah, we can hear you though.
We can hear you. So in the meantime, while that unfreeze, oh, here he is. He's thawed out like Captain America. All right. So Dan, while we can't talk about Soul, tell us, what can we talk about for 9?
I'll tell you what, I had a different documentary in this spot, and I swapped it out with this documentary because as the year has gone on and we got into that January, February extended period, I was able to see this other documentary, and it is probably one of the most gorgeous films I've seen all year in a lot of years. I mean, if you know me, I'm a big proponent of cinematography. I want to look at a gorgeous looking movie or a movie that has some grain to it, but the grain really adds to the all aesthetic and whatnot. And the relationship of the main character and an absolute sea creature is just one of the most beautiful things you'll see all year. And my number 9 is My Octopus Teacher.
I think I'm gonna have to stop you there.
Uh-oh. Oh, wow. Okay, Dan didn't get a chance to talk about any of this.
I got a lot in notes. I got a lot in considering we have to wait.
I mean, the good news is though, you get to they're higher for you, Dan. The ones already on your list are already higher. So we also have another guest that is from Picture This. He can get a proper introduction because I had him late, but we have Chad. Welcome, Chad.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Excited to talk some great films from 2020. A terrible year, but some great films came from it. So
agreed. There are some great films. So are you ready to hit us with your 10 and 9?
Yes. Okay. My 10, if it hasn't already, might be punt or whatever you want to call it. Wait for later.
Objection.
Objection. It's my number 10 is Nomad Land.
Yeah, we're winning.
Yeah, right.
Objection.
Figured.
Yeah.
I love it. Starting off strong.
All right. So there's that. And then my number 9, I don't know, might also be one of these. Minari.
Objection. Objection.
Proceed.
Thank you, Chad.
Malcolm.
I'm loving this so far. Yes,
So
Malcolm, welcome to the show.
I just wanted to say these 10 and 9s, they've just been talked about so much for me. I just want to talk about some fresher stuff. That's why.
Hey, I like the thought process behind that. Malcolm, thank you again for joining us. Would you like to? You're the last one, sir. You will round us out our first little bit of 10 and 9, and then we'll start with 7 or 8 and 7. I can't count.
Yeah, so from when I did this earlier in the year, my list has probably changed a lot, especially because we're introducing some of the ones that were eligible for the Oscars that came out this year, technically. But with that, my 10 and 9, my number 10 is Freaky.
Thank you.
This is a joke.
Wow.
No,
That
it's
was-
not a joke. He's right.
Oh, he's serious. Okay.
It was on his. You got Chad and Malcolm just missed it. It was on Abe's list. What was it again, Abe? It was
Number 9.
Wow.
But yeah, like Freaky is just one of those ones that I didn't know what to expect when going in. But it's just one of those ones that going in, I went in with low expectations because one, it had Vince Vaughn in it, and I really not fan of him as an actor. This is just really fun. Like the body swapping horror movie, just seeing sort of Vince Vaughn doing a Rob Schneider better than what Rob Schneider did in The Hot Chick. But this was just a really fun movie and just one that I really enjoyed.
Nice.
But my number 9 might end up being an objection, but it's Palm Springs.
Yeah, for sure.
Objection.
Oh, wow.
Objection.
Ooh, I love it. I'm loving the objections. Give me all the objections.
Back
So
to you, man.
there it is. So bad. It's back to me. So basically, again, we're gonna go again just for clarification. Now we're gonna go 8-7, 8-7, 8-7. And again, objections still hold if you guys have something that is higher up, let's say in the second half at this point almost. Well, let's say if it's just higher than your first two. So if it's not in this section, just say objection. Hey, if it's not in this section, just say objection. Copyright
should
right
be a
there.
t-shirt.
Nice.
It should. I'm about to say I'm over here in the what is it? The People versus O.J. Simpson right over here. Just coming up. Love that doc. Love that show. I love that show. Sarah Paulson's amazing. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Anyway, so all that aside, all that praising of that show aside, my number 8 is, and I'd hope someone else has this on their list, but it's I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Yep, objection for sure.
Yes.
Objection.
Yes, I'm very happy.
It's my number 11. Just missed.
I love it. Love it. And my number 7, I don't think this will be on anyone's list, but I adore this film to no end. That is number 7, Borat, a subsequent movie film. Very nice.
There's people that like that. I mean, I didn't like it as much as other people.
Did no one else have it on here? No.
It was fun. It was fun, but
okay.
It was.
I'm probably seeing this because I never saw the original Borat. I never saw the original Borat. So my perspective, I saw it literally the day before I watched Borat's subsequent movie film on Amazon. Huh. And I didn't really like the first Borat. I'm like, this is definitely dated, in my opinion. I find it very dated.
So funny though.
But the one, and this is going to change. My list is going to change 10 years, and this will not even be on it. I can assure you. But for now, right here, Borat's subsequent movie film is just an amazing satire where literally it is just one man being goofy, being crazy. That entire thing of like, if you look back at how Sacha Baron Cohen and then now this like rising star that we have in us, oh Lord, Bakalova. What's her first name? Maria. I can remember her last name, but not her first name in the world.
Weird.
Maria Bakalova. Strange. I'm like, baklava. Delicious. Bakalova. Maria Bakalova is a treasure that we have just found. And she was able to just completely go back and forth with him effortlessly. And the jokes were biting to this day. They were something that I quote to now, like, put the baby in me. The entire situations were uncomfortable, hilarious. And to this day, I will just think about these scenes and think, wow, America is full of fantastic people. It is also a moment to allow Borat to grow as a character, because in the first one, he kind of remained stagnant for a lot. This one, he grew not only as a character, but as a father, and that gave him some dynamics to choose from, as well as satiring the current state of America with COVID, with politics, with everything. It is a true joy to watch, and I've watched it like at least twice. I don't really watch films more than once because of time, but if I get a chance to watch a movie twice and I love it, that's saying something. Borat's subsequent movie film is the movie that I just adore. It's not making the final list, I know, but I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was good, but like, for me, I just, a lot of the gross out humor just kind of turns me off. I actually liked Bad Trip more as a great comedy than Borat 2, but
I love the Rudy Giuliani stuff. To me, that was great. How could you have gotten that? Those are like gold moments. They were like moments of gold. How you got that, how they got that, I'll never know.
I mean, they somehow managed to convince that entire section once COVID-19 starts to really transpire. Brilliance. I loved all of it. Absolute brilliance. And the best title every time they had to say it for the Oscars. So good. So good. Abe, what is your 8 and 7?
Many. My number 8. Nomad Land. Are we pumping?
Nope. No. Objection. Okay. Objection. We move to the next section.
Okay. So I think it's gonna happen again. Minari.
Objection.
Objection. Objection.
Get out of here.
Wow. Moving on.
Get out of here with those, Abe.
All right. So now we go up to Dylan.
Well, considering Abe didn't have it in his 8 or 7, I'm assuming this is another objection. It's the objection from earlier with Dan. Soul is my number 8.
Does anyone else have Soul higher?
Good. We get to talk about.
I think Abe. Had it higher.
Okay.
Abe has it higher. Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. My 7 is another objection from earlier. Palm Springs is my 7.
Yeah, it's a.
Any other
Objection,
objections?
yeah. Objection for
Oh,
sure. Yeah.
nice.
I love this.
Just
I
slightly.
love
All
it.
right. I'll sit back.
All right, Dylan, take a nap. And this entire thing is off. Dan, I believe you were next. Hit us with your 8 and 7.
Well, I'm sure someone's got Promising Young Woman further down on the list than number 8, right?
Yes.
That's a
Objection.
So that's what I figured I'd just ask, just to make sure. And my number 7 is a film. I'm a big fan of sports, as you know, but I love also like films that have something to say and about society. And when you take 4 of the greatest icons of this era and put them in a room together and have them have a conversation about life, themselves, who they represent, what they represent, and how the conversation just goes back and forth. And sometimes it can get a little belligerent between the 4 gentlemen that are in this room. And to me, I really found a lot coming out of that movie. And it's called One Night in Miami. And I don't know if anybody's got that on their list, but there's a poster right over here behind me, right over here, right over there. Yeah, I mean, Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, Sam Cooke, and Malcolm X. And Malcolm X is trying to get these guys to realize what these guys represent in society because of their celebrity, their being the great football player, boxer, musician, so forth, And I think Regina King really gets the whole kind of one room aspect of a play and how they move around and how the cinematography really gets all the angles in the rooms and stuff like that. I really enjoyed One Night in Miami a lot, and I'm really looking forward to whatever Regina King does next. And I love the acting by everybody: Leslie Odom Jr., Kingsley Ben-Adir, Eli Gore, and Aldous Hodge. They were all fantastic in the film. So yeah, I had number 7, One Night in Miami.
Yeah, the acting, the dialogue, the songs, that was a beautiful movie for sure.
Mm-hmm. No, and it is the one that while it does not make it made my honorable mentions, it did in fact not make my top 10. I love what it does with these it treats them as like, you can tell like there has been some, like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, you can tell it's been adapted from a play, but it adds this fresh movie like quality to it, where Regina King takes it away from the stage and adds her own flair to it, and the acting and the dialogue. You're right, it's a great adaptation.
The movement of how they move around in the room, and they go out of the room and they go back in the room. I mean, great.
Absolutely. So Chad.
Yes.
Tell us.
Okay.
What do we got?
I'm actually not certain if I think this one counts. I think it came in like a wide release. Like originally maybe came out in 2019, but then had like a wide release in 2020. And I actually just saw this movie last night, so this might be a recency bias, but it's the movie Yes, God, Yes.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Huh. You mean Yes, God.
It's a very good movie, Chad. I'm with you.
Hey, be careful.
I mean, it's no Freaky, I'm sure, but it's for me, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought just like Nancy Dyer, from Stranger Things, I thought she crushed it in this role. And like just going through this movie, like I've heard from people who have been like deep into these like Christian youth groups and ministries and stuff like that. They feel a lot of the same ways that a lot of these characters feel like, and it's basically like people trying to like repress their sexuality because that's what they're being taught. And you see that not even the priest does what he preaches. And so everyone's basically just trying to find ways to get that outlet of sexual repression. And at times it has a lot of very cringe moments, and I just like really love that. I just thought it was great. And there's for me, it was a lot of comedy in that. And so I just really loved her story and how she overcame like a lot of these rumors that were put up against her, about doing sex stuff that she had never done, and how it can kind of like ruin people's reputation and lives. And she basically at the end, she's just like, can we please just not be like so uptight and just like talk with each other about stuff and just be open about this stuff. And I just thought it was a really great message. I really enjoyed it. Very short movie too.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it right now. It piqued my interest in the way you describe it.
I reviewed this, and I just wasn't a big fan of it. I'm sorry, but I do like her in Stranger Things.
Yeah,
it's on Netflix if I'm not mistaken, in America at least. So, I'm definitely curious about how they. What a title!
Well, sorry if I spoiled it, by the way.
I saw a trailer for this, and I was like, "This seems interesting," but it flew under the radar. So now you've gotten people interested. That's the big thing.
In chat, does the title come into effect in the movie? Does
it's kind of.
I was gonna say.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
I mean, it's all about like sexual repression and letting that out. So kind of. And I threw it on because it was really short and I didn't have a lot of time to watch a movie. And I was like, wow, there was a lot of like bang in there for such a short runtime. So I really enjoyed that one. Then, so what's my number 7? My number 7 is actually the objection from earlier. My octopus teacher.
Okay. So go ahead.
This one I didn't actually see this until it won the best documentary award at the Oscars, and then I was like, well, let me finally watch this. Like I started it a long time ago and I didn't finish it, but then holy shit, when I actually like watched this, like I didn't tear up, I swear, I'm a man, okay, but
real men cry.
The wife okay, fine, I cried, okay, but the wife totally teared up, and we were just like devastated about I guess I won't spoil it, but the things that this guy and this octopus go through, just you see how everything it takes for this octopus just to survive, and it just the relationship between the two entities is basically like the guy is going through a bunch of stuff in his life, trying to raise his son, and it's like the octopus teaches him just as much as he teaches the octopus. And I just thought it was really like, I never think about octopus, and now I'm like, maybe people that watch this will think twice before they eat calamari. Just like,
yeah, I mean,
maybe not, Dill. I don't know.
but the thing that Chad's not really mentioning is it's one of the most gorgeous films of the year. I mean, it's filmed in a reef outside of South Africa, and the water is just like pristine. So you're getting these great shots of underwater in the reefs, in sharks, all kinds of stuff. And they had 8,000 hours of footage that they narrowed down to able to make this movie and to create a story within this context of this movie and this man's life and the life of this octopus. And wow, what a smart animal an octopus is.
Yeah, just like
go ahead.
Just gonna say, just like, yeah, exactly, and like all the editing that had to go into it just to get, and it flows so well, and just like a lot of the times you're just like, wait, how did he get all this footage? And you're just like, he had to go down there like every day for a year. It's just insane the amount of work that went into it.
Yeah, and that's why it won the best documentary, because it's one of the most original films you'll watch in all year. I mean, there's nothing like it, and it deserved to win best documentary. Not that I don't like Collective and some other documentaries this year, but that to me was the best.
I mean, the best documentary didn't win best picture, so we'll talk about that later.
Interesting.
Or best documentary, but my it's a hot take later. But no, I want to just chime in because that's on my honorable mentions as well too. My octopus teacher is, of course, a beautiful, like the fact that he managed to go for, because I believe this was filmed for a period like since like 2010 or something. Like it was a ridiculous number. Like he was filming this for a long time, and they had putting this together was something completely another task in and of itself. And just the fact that the feat of what they did, I'm in awe of how they did this. And like props to them for making a beautiful movie. And I love how organically the word of mouth just kind of got up. People started to talk about it. It wasn't just kind of like pushed by Netflix didn't push it.
They didn't push that.
They didn't push it. It just appeared. It just kind of happened because people saw it and they liked the message of this movie about what it means in our connection with nature. And it's a really good film. So please go. I know probably people have seen it because Netflix keeps telling me to watch it. I've already seen it, Netflix.
And our TVs. Our types of TVs we own today, it lends itself to these big, giant 4K TVs. Trust me, you want to watch it on the biggest possible TV you can watch it on.
Agreed. All right. Chad, that was your 7th, correct?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Malcolm.
Want to make that. So yeah, please, Malcolm, hit us.
So while I didn't have Promising Young Woman at 8, I've got Pieces of a Woman at 8.
Ooh, wow.
Nice.
Don't have it on my list, Malcolm, but wow.
That would be an honorable mention, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
yes.
I'm not going to lie, I haven't seen this movie since the start of the year, so I don't remember a lot about it now. But from what I remember, this is a great movie. Vanessa Kirby gives off a great performance. She definitely deserved that nomination.
Yes.
But this is just a great movie, and yeah, that's all I can say about it. Is I don't really remember much about it now.
No, go ahead, Abe. You're going to say. Abe, you're going to say something, Abe.
Oh yeah, just the first, the first 30 minutes, the first sequence where you know what's about to happen, that's just crushing, and that's the best part of the movie. Like that film kind of falls in like these kind of melodrama that you expect, but at the end, like that first 30 minutes, they're so strong that really brings everything together, even though it's at the beginning. Also, that the story, I think it's beautiful, and I think it's beautifully shot. I think the problems for the movie lie more like with the screenplay and stuff like that, like decisions they made, but like the direction is great. Like if they had like a stronger screenplay, like this would be like getting like in the top of many lists, I believe.
Yeah, like I mean, it's devastating, and then like you go through it, and then you have Ellen Burstyn giving like one of the best performances I've ever seen, and like she's like egging so hard, like you need to do this because if you don't, you didn't love your baby, and maybe you should have listened to me, and then like you should take her down, that lady that did that thing, and then later you find out like she's like no, this is just a shitty thing that happened, and nothing's gonna bring my baby back, and I don't know, it's just a crazy
it's
movie,
rough.
but I really liked it. Yeah, it's rough.
It's rough all the way around with Ellen Burstyn, with Shia LaBeouf. I mean, with everybody involved. It's rough. This is a rough situation. And sometimes movies are about rough situations, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's just a tough situation, a tough topic. And I applaud the people that made this movie for having the balls to make something that wasn't an easy, happy-go-lucky, beautiful kind of topic. It was a terrible, terrible situation. And sometimes movies should be made about bad things, not all.
And it could potentially help somebody get through something like that if they go through a similar situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That sort of representation, I think, is important to have all different types of situations as well as someone is put in, not just representation when it comes to the person seen, but actually what people go through. I think that's very imperative. And yeah, I think it's an honorable mention for me too. She's the one that gets that honorable mention for me, just for how amazing Vanessa Kirby is.
Good pick, Malcolm.
Yeah, great pick.
So my next one, I think is going to end up being an objection considering on the love I know other people in this panel really love about this movie. It is 2020's Emma.
Ooh,
good.
Wait, what is the
Emma.
Emma.
I knew Malcolm loved
that is 7, right?
7,
yeah.
Slight.
Ooh,
Attention.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
Manning.
Light
And it's
objection.
Manning's turn. So guess what, Manning?
Oh, so I guess we're not. We will not object it because, guys, guess what is number 5? Oh, sorry, 6. Guess what is number 6, everyone? 6 is
Sonic
Emma.
the Hedgehog.
No.
All right. Oh, okay.
That movie is better than it needs to be. We'll say that.
Oh, very good movie. Very good movie.
But Emma is genuinely an amazing, just fun time. If you have any love for like the Jane Austen period pieces, which I'm a big sucker for, this is a movie that has so much kind of charm and so much personality that I just watched this like on HBO Max. It's on there now before it leaves. It's leaving, so watch it before it leaves. It is a delightful film. Like Anya Taylor-Joy just steals every scene that she's in. The humor is not very, it's tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, it's kind of very knowing. Like those knowing glances you see, it's nothing that's out there and outlandish. The costumes are brilliant. The screenplay is just like wants to drag you into this world, and you want to sit there because it's just so kind of like a warm blanket almost in a way with all the bright colors. It is a movie that I adore, and I think this is one of the best Jane Austen adaptations when it comes to Emma. Sorry, Gwyneth Paltrow version. This one's better. I said it. So, yeah, I love Emma, and I really implore people to go see it if they give them the chance.
Malcolm, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Like, this is definitely one of the best Jane Austen adaptations I've seen. And I think there's going to be a movie based on Persuasion coming out, so that's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
And the thing, go ahead. Keep going.
Like the casting was just great. Like Anya Taylor-Joy, I did not know what to expect because I hadn't seen her in something like this kind of role before. So I was like, it could be interesting. Bill Nighy is always good when you throw him into period pieces.
He was hilarious.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, too, the below the line categories, the costumes, the makeup, the cinematography, the set production, really bring you into that world of this Jane Austen novel. And that's part of if you get brought into the world, that's half the battle of getting involved in watching that type of movie with that kind of dialogue and that kind of stuff. And I'll tell you what, I'm a huge Scorsese fan, everybody knows, but dang it, this is what you want to do when you're making a movie about this sort of stuff, not the age of innocence. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Emma just kind of like, for me, just kind of like lost its staying power a little bit. And then even with like an Anya Taylor-Joy, performance, it wasn't even the performance of the year that everybody talked about. So, I think just unfortunately kind of got swept from being so early in the year. But I did enjoy it when I saw it in the theater. That was one of like the last movies I saw. It's like that and onward.
February, a long time ago.
That was the last movie I saw in theaters. And I remember that vividly before. So that's probably why it had the staying power, because it was legit the last movie I remember seeing as being movies.
Before times.
Another time.
Manning's number 5.
Oh, my number 5. Now this is something I don't think I'm genuinely curious if any of you have this. But it is the highest documentary you'll see on my list, and it is one of my favorite documentaries on this list, and I think is a documentary that kind of goes beyond it delves into the psyche of humanity in a way that you put people in a situation and they start to react in a way where you get connected with these people beyond in a way you think you ever could. And that's Boys State. Boys State is such a phenomenal documentary. I was rooting for these boys the entire time, thinking, just a nice little fun little mock Senate or mock government that they're putting up. No, these are people who are bloodthirsty. These are kids who are they know what they want in life, but they are also people who have, while they have ulterior motives, they also have a heart. And you see what we are like as people in a situation that's not real. It's not real by all standards, but it's real to them. And you get to see how we play out as humans, boys, specifically young men, and how their adolescence grows. Yeah. And it's an amazing documentary. I want everyone to go see it. It is on Apple Plus. It's the reason I got Apple Plus.
Well, you get that Apple Plus.
Check out that Ted Lasso.
That was the reason I got it. And yes, now Ted Lasso is on my list. People keep telling me to go see it, and I will do it.
Ted Lasso's brilliant.
I will. Everyone keeps saying to see it. I've heard nothing but
Mythic Quest too.
No one had it. No one has it though. I'm guessing Boys State.
No, but I'll tell you what, I had it on my list for the longest time during the year. But as things, more films come out and things change.
Absolutely.
I bumped it back. But you're absolutely, man. These 17-year-old boys are so cutthroat, Manning. And the thing is,
they really are.
At the end, they show you boys that were in this organization that moved up into politics in real life, and you're saying to yourself, oh, okay. And then you look at the boys that were in the movie and you say, this kid's gonna move into politics, this kid's gonna do this kid's gonna do that. And you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, these are our future leaders of our country. And you're like, oh boy.
It's just a really fascinating inside look into what, cut off from the outside world, this is all that they know. And with that, we get a sense of who they are when thrust into these situations. And I love it when we get into the psychology of these young men in particular. So I love Boy State, and I encourage everyone to go see it if given the chance.
Great job.
Yeah, I actually started it. I never finished it. It just didn't really grip me as much as I wanted it to. I think a lot of the politics stuff was turning me off, but the high praise makes me want to go back and finish it now. So
it is.
I'll do that for sure.
It gets better as it goes along.
It does.
More cutthroat, and you're like, oh my God, these guys are going after each other.
Think of the politics as an extension of who these people are and how they react with these politics, and with that, hopefully you'll understand who they are as characters with how they react to the politics. So
yeah,
maybe that'll help. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
So anyway, Abe, what do we got?
Manny.
Yes.
I don't know if we're gonna keep objecting this one. Promising Young Woman.
Objection.
Yeah, object.
Whoa.
Okay.
We started from the bottom. Now we are here.
Someone's gonna have it at number one. You watch, Manning.
Okay. I'm about to get crushed for this one, but let me give me my reason why. We always the guys will get it. We always reference this movie every episode. I watched it in January, came out, and I think it's the idea that I watched in the cinema that changed everything, and it stayed over there for a long time, and nothing has moved it.
I know what it is.
Okay, what it is? Say.
It's Bad Boys for Life.
Yes. Look, guys.
Nice.
As I mentioned earlier, like I go to be entertained. That's why I love the movies. Like whatever I do on Saturdays, I go watch one movie, whatever it's on the cinema, and I see. Well, tell me what I'm gonna consume tonight for entertainment. And well, Bad Boys for Life did that for me. It's about 2 hours and something, and it's just pure nuts and entertainment. And there's explosions, and there's a story that it's actually kind of good. Like you don't believe it, like from a Bad Boys movie. Like it truly grabs you. Like it has emotion and everything. Like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, like their chemistry is out of the world. Like you see in the first 2 movies, and they still complete it like that. Look, you guys were so afraid to put it in your top 10. I can see your faces right now, but I put it in my top 5. So Bad Boys.
Who knew?
It's not a bad movie, Abe. It's a good movie.
It is a good movie. Who knew when you remove Michael Bay from the equation in this particular franchise, you actually get a really good movie out of it. And I just love the dynamic between the 2 actors in that movie. Even though I don't have it on my list as like best of the year, it's a really fun movie. I loved especially just like the dynamic where Will Smith wants to keep going on this. He's on the case and stuff, but then Martin Lawrence is like, well, I'm retiring. So he's doing action stuff. The other guy's kicking back in a chair with his robe, flapping it and stuff. I loved it. It's great.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna lie. When you started off your spiel, I thought it was going to be something else. But
oh no, I'm expecting something else.
You will, and I'm gonna very crush. But I have my arguments for that stuff. Thank you,
Dylan.
Thank you.
All right, Dylan. So, what do we got?
Number 6. This is a Oscar winner. It gave us one of the best speeches of the night on Oscar night. It is Another Round, the winner for Best International Feature.
Yep.
Hold on.
What is it?
Objection.
Objection. We gotta go to the next section.
Gavel.
My number 5. This is where an objection from earlier. Minari.
Anybody got it lower?
Objection.
Ooh.
Bill.
The next section.
Wow,
I'll relax again.
Well, mine was a while ago.
I mean, someone's got it at 4 or lower. Is basically what we're looking at here.
Someone's got it at 4 or lower. I can tell you that. Who could it be?
All right, so that means it's my turn now, right?
Dan, hit us.
I'll tell you what. You know, we talked about what Malcolm said about what Pieces of a Woman, how the subject matter isn't necessarily the most cinematic subject matter. And you're like, oh, I'm sitting through a 2-hour movie about a woman who has something happen to her child, and then everybody's getting upset and angry and all this stuff about what's going on, and that people want to blame people. But there's another side of things. There's when a teenager gets pregnant and she's got the rest of her life to live, and she has to make a decision. Does she want to have to be burdened with taking care of a child the rest of her life, or get an abortion? And there's 4 questions that go in there. Never, really, sometimes, always. And it's not an easy film to watch, but how they handle it is one of the most incredible films you watch all year from last year. And why this film didn't get more love come awards seasons, I will not. It did at the Independent Spirit Awards, which I was so happy that it's got some awards at the Independent Spirit Awards, because it deserved awards at the Independent Spirit. It deserved awards at a lot of film festivals and award shows. And the lead actress is, I forget her name right now, is incredible.
Sydney Flanagan, yep.
She's amazing. And this film has resonated with me ever since. And I'm not a woman. I'm not going to go get pregnant and have a child or have to give an abortion. But I can really relate to her situation, the way the filmmakers put her into this situation, and then what she has to go through and everything. Just an amazing film. And I want to see more films that deal with difficult subject matter, and not just kind of happy-go-lucky, fancy, blah, 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 kumbaya films all the time, you know?
Yeah, I mean, Dan, I actually had this on my list, and I took it off for my octopus teacher because I just wanted to have a little bit of variety, but I'm kind of sad that I did, because it is really a great movie. It just it basically just like puts you in her shoes the whole movie. And that's all the movie is going to get this deed done, because she has the rest of her life in front of her. And, you know, that you're along for the ride, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with what she's about to do or not. They're just showing you what she plans to do. And she has to do this all by herself, because her parents don't support her. The local doctors and stuff try to lie to her, and even try to like make it to where, you know, she's not, you know, they lie to her about how far along she is so that she can't legally have an abortion. And it's just really sick the way some people act in this world.
Yeah. Especially living in New York City and seeing a movie about this girl experiencing a huge city for the first time, it really captured that well too. It just missed my list as well. Just the isolation you feel in this enormous landscape that you have no idea how to navigate. I mean, that was what really intrigued me as well about the movie, just how they really captured that sense of being lost and overwhelmed by the atmosphere as well, because it's just her and her friend or her cousin. So great movie.
Yep.
Nice.
My number 5. You know, I've had a battle with alcoholism in my life, and my father was an alcoholic, and I was an alcoholic, and I'm 7 years, going on 8 years sober now. And one of the subject matters when I see it in movies, I'm very critical of, is how alcoholism is handled in movies. And I'm also a huge sports fan, and I've been a basketball coach and a football coach. And a movie that really put me in the situation of people that I know and myself in my own personal life was The Way Back, starring
Oh.
Ben Affleck.
I thought he was going
Wow.
somewhere else.
Ben Affleck gives arguably the performance of his entire life in this film as this alcoholic construction worker that gets asked to go back to his high school where he was a basketball star to coach the basketball team. And he kind of gets into a relationship with Janina Gavankar, but the priest is like, dude, you got to stop drinking or you can't coach this team. And he's going to deal with his own demons inside of him and alcoholism and so forth. And what's more important, these kids and being a good role model for these kids, or just drinking yourself into a stupor every night. And as far as I'm concerned, Ben Affleck gave one of the best performances of the year in that 12-month calendar year, and I was shocked that not more people didn't think of him as one of the best performances in a movie that just resonated with me so much. This movie is right, like, in vein with my own life in so many ways.
There were a lot of overlooked performances in 2020. I feel like,
Yeah, and
definitely one of mine
too.
is
With the pandemic too. I think it came out right before the pandemic with Onward and Emma, like that slate.
Yeah.
It's a shame because I remember seeing it right as the pandemic started. It got released on video on demand, and I was a big fan. I think it's his best performance of his career in a long time, of his personal career. Yeah, definitely.
I still need to see that one.
Same. I need to see it because it came out around that pandemic time, and it's like, but that was before the mentality of like, I'm not paying $20 to rent a movie, or along those lines. But now I did it for other purposes, like watching Promising Young Woman and The Father. You maybe want to go see this now. I know that Matt Kearns, who was with Take 3, I know that if you were watching this, he loves The Way Back. He loves Ben Affleck. This is something he's been touting. So someone else loves it too, Matt. Just so you know, someone else loves it too, and I'm going to give it a shot now.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the Oscars would have looked like had they kept the eligibility window at December, because I think had they kept it at that, I think Ben Affleck may have made it into the best actor category.
Who had that? Who had that film? Who could have? Because they needed a campaign behind him. If he had the critical reviews, they needed a campaign. I don't think there was any campaigning.
No, he did campaign. He did campaign. He was, the roundtables he did in. Well, I didn't watch it this year because it was on Zoom and it was boring. But he was in the roundtable the Hollywood Reporter does.
Really?
He was with Gary Oldman and others. But just to mention, that movie is like, it's kind of simple, and maybe you can even call it cliche. But like, they do everything right. Like, they really take you with Ben Affleck's character, what he's going through with his alcoholism, and you feel for him. Like, you truly do. Like, I don't remember much of the movie, but I just remember feeling kind of down for him, like rooting for him. And also, we tend to vilify people that are going through that problem because that's the way we usually see it. But in reality, like, they're sick, and like, you have to empathize with them to understand it. And they truly reflect that well, I think. Well, that's it. So I believe.
Well, I definitely want to see this now. So
it's on Prime, I think.
Oh, wonderful. I can't wait to watch that then. All right. So thank you, Dan. Chad, hit us.
All right.
What you got?
All right. There,
6 and 5.
I don't know if this is going to be an objection, but I have on my number 6, Palm Springs.
That was my 7.
Okay.
All right.
It's just us. All right.
Malcolm, wait, did you have Palm Springs on yours, Malcolm?
I had it at 9.
Okay, cool. Wanted to make sure.
There you go. Perfect. So, I guess I'll start then. Palm Springs. I mean, this is one that in like the heart of the pandemic, I think this is the movie a lot of people needed. And, I love The Lonely Islands a lot, and Andy Samberg and just everything with all that stuff. I've listened to their comedy CD so much, and just to see like a potential like Oscar movie from them is just insane. And I think this could have been like a Best Picture nominee almost, like, just taking the same, you would think it's a same tired concept of the time loop, and yet it seems like everybody can make this thing fresh now, just with a little different spin on it. And I just feel like this movie was so funny with like the best performances by Kristen Milioti, Andy Samberg, and J.K. Simmons, and you just had like all these like fun dynamics. They're just doing all the craziest shit that you would ever think to do if you're stuck in that, because why not? I mean, Bill Murray did it, so they have their own little fun takes. They do like a whole dance number in a bar, and they're just like, just kind of pissing the days away while they have nowhere to go. And then they add like dinosaurs and stuff. It's a crazy movie, but it's really fun. And I just thought the performances in this were way too good for like, if you maybe heard this, like saw like a trailer for this, you might not think it'd be as good as it actually is. So
yeah, I've been waiting for years for Kristen Milioti to become a bigger star. I saw her actually when she was on Broadway in Once. She was the lead in the Once musical. Then
nice.
she did
great movie.
Then she was the mother on How I Met Your Mother, and then she was in that Black Mirror Star Trek episode, and then finally she's now kind of breaking through to the forefront. She's just a great time. I love their relationship together. It's one of my favorite couples of the year. Like this has the best chemistry, I think, between the two leads, because there's a lot of heavy movies with like central romances, which I even some on my list higher, some really powerful romances, but they're going through a lot of struggles, whereas this one is about a romance that you can just enjoy, sit back, smile, laugh along with. But it does have some heart too. It does have good questions of like, what makes life worth living, and is it worth it to risk living a whole life not knowing what the next day will bring, or repeating the same day over and over. It brings a lot of great psyche to that. And it's visually really nice too. It's got a lot of great colors, just a lot of great direction, blocking. Everything's just really good. So it's definitely one of my favorites.
And I forget, Dale, did this win Best Kiss at the Pickle Awards?
No, it won Best On-Screen Couple at the Pickle Awards, but it
go.
was the runner-up for Best Kiss, next to A Kiss from the Half of It, which is the best retelling of Cyrano I've seen in a long time. But that was on my honorable mentions. But yeah.
But Palm Springs was a lot of fun. This is one that I kind of didn't know what I was going to expect when I was going in, because I mean, who drew all this buzz? Like, it's a Groundhog style movie. It's probably not going to be good, but I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I always liked Kristen Milioti from How I Met Your Mother and all that. And just reading up, because I thought one had been announced, but there hasn't. But I know that Andy Samberg has teased that there could be a Palm Springs 2 in the works. Because he did an interview somewhere and was sort of said he would love to do a Palm Springs 2, but there's not one officially announced. But they kind of said it could be a WandaVision situation, whatever that ends up meaning.
What does that mean? A TV show, perhaps? No. All right, and then Chad, was that your number 6 or?
That was my 6. Yes.
What's your 5?
My 5 is I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
That is my 6.
Oh, fantastic.
All right, so there we go.
Take it away.
I think that's 3 of us that had this on there. This was another movie that came out kind of in the heart of the pandemic there, and they just threw it on Netflix. And I've seen this I think just twice now, but I had to see it kind of twice to kind of understand it, and then I had to read about it, and then I was like, holy shit, what is going on? I still don't really understand it, but, I don't know. That's probably by design, but hey, I love Jesse Plemons, Friday Night Lights, Breaking Bad. All these shows are some of my favorite shows of all time, and Jesse Plemons is just one of the best actors out there. And then you got Jessie Buckley, and she's amazing in everything. So it's just like this cat, and then oh my God, I'm just remembering all these awesome people. Who is it? Forgive me. Hereditary. Toni Collette. And then you have
David Thewlis.
David Thewlis. So you have all these great people in this playing different like ages, different type of roles, and just like they just like flip everything around.
And the dog, the dog too, the shaking dog.
Right. Wouldn't stop shaking.
And it has kind of, but it's definitely a I'm forgetting all the names. Charlie Kaufman movie, But it's also it kind of seems like a Lynchian movie in some aspect, some ways too, and yeah. So like, you just have like this weird like car ride with like Jesse Buckley just like talking about like an old movie that she reviewed and just like poetry and I mean it sounds boring the way I'm describing it, but it's actually really like a good watch. I don't know. I just really liked it. I just thought like the way it's kind of like maybe all in this guy's mind or just he's remembering himself, and it's wacky, but I loved it.
And I agree 100%. Like I'm still thinking of it fondly right now. It's one of those films that has like, man, I want to put it higher now. I'm just thinking about it. It leaves an impression upon you. And when I watched it at the beginning, you think that one thing is going to transpire, and then as you progressively go along, things begin to unravel, and you start to understand the story a little bit more. A little bit more. Also, that cinematography. I forgot who Lucaza something. I can't pronounce it. It's definitely not English. But that aspect ratio of 4:3 is just it's kind of haunting in a way, and it might be probably my favorite cinematography of the year. Sorry, Mank and Nomad Land, but it was just so fascinating and interesting to see how it was framed in the way and how every different shot felt different. Like literally they would cut to something almost different in a single scene. Like the time would shift in a single scene, and it made it up to the viewer to like, okay, we want to make sure that we trust you to follow along. They weren't like dumbing it down or holding our hand. They're like, here, this is something you may not get, but we want you to experience it and see and come along for this ride that is kind of pure bananas. Because even the beginning, kind of how it bends with time and reality, and even that, I won't spoil too much, but that Oklahoma dance scene, you'll see it. It's just shot beautifully, and those performances are.
Makeup,
you know what? This is higher than Borat. I'm putting it higher at 7. So doing it right now. Sorry,
please put it higher than Borat.
But yeah, I mean, this was one of those movies I did not know what I was getting myself into when I was watching it. This is one I fully expected that I probably will not like because it was Charlie Kaufman is going to be one of those weird things. But apparently, I like weird things. So it, so I found it really enjoyable. I said a lot more about it when we did top 10 of 2020 for Rankin. That was at the start of the year. So if you want to hear more about my thoughts, just go watch that episode of Rankin.
Nice.
But that was my number 6. My number 5 is The King of Staten Island.
Oh.
Nice
pick. On my list.
Don't have that.
Yeah, honorable mention.
But yeah, this was probably the first movie that I actually went to see back in cinemas. For me, when we first came out of lockdown, and this is one that I went in not knowing anything about it, not reading any reviews. I just went in completely blind, and I found that it was just one of those ones that I really enjoyed. Pete Davidson is an interesting guy, and this is loosely. I mean, like from what I understand, this is loosely based on his life. So, and just to see sort of everything that happened is just one of those ones that was really enjoyable to watch. And Bull Burr is just a delight. And yeah.
Yeah, the relationship between him and Bill Burr in that movie just builds throughout the movie, and it's just a really funny movie. I mean, yeah, that's a great pick, Malcolm. That's definitely high on my honorable mentions for sure.
So now we're moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, to our second half of everything. We're gonna push full speed ahead because I know now we're gonna start. Everyone's gonna start. We're colliding now, everybody. We're gonna start colliding because we are on my 4 and my 3. My 4, we're probably gonna have to punt now. My 4 is Nomad Land.
That is my 4.
Sir. Objection.
Oh, we object. He objected. We object. The objection.
That was my 10.
There you go. Objection. So let's go to the next section. I'm gonna run that into the ground. But my number 3 is the father.
Objection.
Objection.
Okay.
Number 12, it just missed out.
Which got in my honorable mentions, Manning.
Same.
Okay. All right. So, and yeah, that's it. I'm about to say. I'm about to say. Wait, is that it? I'm about to say. Hold on. Is my 2 already up? They're already up. And go ahead.
Okay. I don't think nobody will have to object because I'm that guy. The Invisible Man.
Objection.
Whoa!
I like these guys. Can we keep them?
Yes, whenever we have a special.
You can adopt us, dude, if you want.
Good job. I had it in my honorable mentions, but still, good job. Good job.
Oh, that's a really good pick.
All right.
I know what this next one's going to be.
It was a fun double objection.
Okay.
I love that.
It was.
So 3, Soul.
All right,
that was my 8, and I think, Dan, that was your 9, right?
Yep. Number 10,
Nice.
actually.
Your 10.
Okay, so I'm thinking, just give me a second. I'm writing what people thought. So I think know what is in. I said it again, and I don't want to be friends with Pete Doctor because that guy takes everything out of me. Like his movies, like truly take you and try to understand your own life and what it means to be alive, or what is inside your head, or what makes you a person that you are, and it takes you into character that thinks that something it's he's going live when in reality he says in the movie like life is just life, you just have to live it. And I think it's even before watching the movie that's kind of my idea of life, honestly. Like just leave it, don't worry about a lot of stuff, just do whatever you want. And it takes you to, and you meet 22, which is the character that takes you into this journey, played by Tina Fey, which I think she does a really great job. And she's this, she's a she, right? It's a number. I don't know if she's, okay, whatever. Okay, so, well, like, it takes you, like, she starts understanding, like kind of a child. Like, in reality, it's kind of a child. Like, you start, like, enjoying being alive. And that's something we all do as a child. True, as we go older, like things start getting tougher. But like as a child, you just enjoy the color, you enjoy the smells, and that was all those. And it breaks. And the score, like I have to mention the score. Like I think we all agree. Well, of the panel of regulars and the adopted ones, I hope you do too. Like the score was the best of the year.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, like there's no question. Like the music truly
sure.
adds a level to the movie that it truly helps and like takes you into the journey of the character.
Yeah, the mix of the jazz music and then the other kind of music that's in there, it is really a nice mix on the score as far as that goes. But some of the things, Pixar has gotten better. It's like, how can Pixar get their animation get better and better? Well, their animation has gotten better. Coco really showed me that they are really starting to do a lot of layering and show a lot of depth in their animation. And in the scenes in New York City, the depth and the layering of the city and the people walking and the people in the background and all that kind of stuff was just amazing. I mean, how they get the depth in their animation, I will never know. It's just their animation keeps getting better and better and better as every film that they do. But like you said, it's about you, who you are as a person, and what you are meant to be in your own life. And don't try to veer off track and do all this crazy stuff in your life. Kind of, if you love something, focus on the things that you love and focus on the things that matter to you most, because those are really, in the end, the things that you're going to be most happy with. And that's what I really got out of Soul. And obviously the main character has figured it out in the end as well, and that's why Soul is such a great film for me, because of what it means to me as a person and how I need to focus on my life and focus on the things that I love and the things that I enjoy doing. I'm sure Dylan's got a lot to say too.
Yeah,
well said.
I'm such a big animation guy, and it was tough because I was weighing two of them that I wanted to put on, and I made a cut. It was this and Wolfwalkers, two really great movies.
Great
and
film.
Wolfwalkers itself is just such a different style of animation to this, but both are just so amazing. So I wanted to give that a shout out. But yeah, Soul, the animation is just ridiculous. I remember, like you said, with Coco, the same thing happened with me, like Good Dinosaur. I was like, wow, this animation's like legit. Like, it's not just the story anymore, it's the animation. And then they came out with Coco, and then they did Toy Story 4, and it's like every movie they do just gets better and better and better in terms of the actual technical craft. And they always get great voice actors. I mean, Tina Fey, Jamie Foxx, they're great. Even the side little bit parts here and there. I was worried it was gonna almost be like a rehash of Inside Out, because it's like these things that aren't necessarily people or humans, like they're not animals, they're just ideas almost,
entities.
And, they're entities. And then I was like, oh, this is gonna just be another Inside Out. And for the first 20-25 minutes I was like, ooh, is this all it's gonna be? But then, you know, there's like a twist that happens, and I'm sure everyone here's seen it, but in case you haven't, like, I won't spoil it, but then it brings it back to the real world, and that's really where the magic happens, and that's where a lot of the comedy stems from. And then it has a beautiful third act. I mean, the music composition is so good. When he's sitting at the piano and it's just that montage. I mean, Pixar's montages up, you know, this, even the Incredibles one, which isn't like sad, but it's like the one of him training. And, you know, there's so many great montages that Pixar has done. And this is just another example of that, just to wrap it all up at the end. And it's one of my favorite, it is my favorite animated movie of the past year. So.
Everybody got any thoughts about Soul?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it definitely was one of those that touched me, especially by the end. And I remember kind of tearing up a little bit, which Pixar always does. It didn't like hit me as much as like other ones, like Toy Story 3 and, you know, Coco and a lot of those. But yeah, it almost got there. And maybe upon rewatch it will. Again, I didn't know what to expect, but yeah, I'm actually sad that I didn't put this one on my list. I didn't give any respect to animation.
No respect. No, Chad, I completely agree with you 100%. It did not hit me the way the other Pixar films have done, but I think I need to give it a rewatch. I think I need to give it a rewatch of a fresh like headspace to be able to see it and take it for what it is. I think the technical aspects are brilliant, as you said. The music is just, you can't say no to good jazz, and that was fantastic jazz. And the performances were great. I'm gonna give it there's a lot. I need to like make a list of everything that I need to watch for the first time and then to rewatch after what you guys have told me.
I watched it twice in 24 hours.
Nice.
Like, I watched it in English and then I watched it in Spanish. Just for the sake of it.
Nice. If another animation honorable mention, Demon Slayer. Fun animation.
Is that considered? Oh, is that considered? This did it release?
No, it came out in March. No, it came out last month.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's on how
well, it depends who you ask.
I don't know. It's a good movie.
I want to see it. I love Demon Slayer, so I can't wait to see it eventually.
It probably, I don't know how when it comes to film movies, I don't know how their eligibility window works, because it would have been eligible for international feature if, but I don't know how it really had to come out in the States to be eligible for everything else. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's true. Malcolm looks cozy over there. I think I might be fine too.
Everyone just like chill out.
We'll go get a blanket.
Does somebody have another round lower than number 4? 4.
I think I might.
I had it at 6.
6. That's it.
The hell is
okay?
My list?
Okay. My number 4 is another movie about alcohol.
Wait, Dylan, did you went? Wait, so we're off.
I don't know the order, so I don't.
No, wait, so Abe, you just went.
It's Dylan's turn?
Abe, you just finished, right?
Yes.
You just did Soul.
Yeah, Invisible Man and Soul, yeah.
Okay, so Dylan and then Dan. Yes.
Okay. My number 4. We'll talk about another round soon because I did have it at number 6. At number 4, this was one that I didn't have in my top 10 until you said we're also doing the 2021 movies that were also eligible. So I went, oh, okay. So let me see if there were any 2021 movies that I'd like to put in there, and I did.
I know what this is.
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yep.
Hold on.
Objection.
Objection.
All right,
the next section.
I'm worried. I think this one also might be one, but I'll say it anyway. Number 3, I had Sound of Metal.
Slight objection.
Yep. Okay. So
wait.
Slight objection
for me as well.
Chad,
it's actually my number 3 as well.
Okay, so we got the same. So I guess we'll talk about it now.
Talk about that.
Please, yes.
Yeah, I love this movie. Some people who don't know me well, I do suffer from, my family's always had some hearing problems. So I just related off the bat to that idea of just having an arm's length distance to some things in the world. Not as jarring of a transition as Riz Ahmed's character was feeling in that movie, but just the way they play with sound first and foremost, like the technical aspect. I mean, it's one of those movies that like I always love watching movies on a bigger TV, but if you can watch with headphones on a smaller device, like headphones really just illuminate the experience for me, of just all the different sound design elements. It really puts you in the shoes of that character. Yeah, just the relationship's great at the center with Olivia Cooke. She's great. Paul Raci was my pick for Best Supporting Actor for 2020. There was someone from 2021 that just got objected that I would probably pick over him. But Paul Raci was my favorite performance of 2020 in terms of supporting. Just the way he was just not a no-name actor, but not many people knew him as big of a star as he is now. And now he's kind of a bigger name because of this movie, and he got the Oscar nomination. I love the representation for deaf people in general. Just a really, really great movie about disability that never shames people for disability. I think that's the main thing I loved about it, was that, it's not necessarily something to be fixed. It's some part of you, and you just have to accept it. And Ruben doesn't accept it for a while in the film, and even at the end of the film, it's not fully 100% there, but you do see that he's willing to put in the growth. I just thought it was a very eye-opening movie for me in general, just in terms of empathy and just how to approach different people and different lifestyles. I mean, a lot of the movies that are high on my list, it deals with other people who are not exactly like me, but you can empathize with their struggles and empathize what it's like to feel like an outsider. So I really like Sound of Metal. But Chad, I know you have more to say too.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything you said, but exactly, some of the best movies ever made are the ones that put you in people's shoes, so you can, because I mean, you can live in your little bubble. If you've never met like a deaf person, or just don't know anything about it, like this movie can probably get you as close to experiencing that as you could ever get without maybe going to like some sort of like sound deprivation tent or something room. It just like, I've never tried it with the headphones. I really want to now, but I've seen it a couple times, and just like, yeah, I mean, just the journey that Ruben goes on, and the performance by Riz Ahmed. I think this was one of, if not my favorite performance of the year, definitely from an actor. You just have like that sit down at the table at that one part with him and Paul Raci, and just that intimate exchange between those two, just that one moment where he's desperate, and then Paul Raci basically has to go, look, I don't know what the hell you got yourself into, but you can't stay here because you betrayed us,
like a
and
drug
we just
addict right now. It was...
we can't let you be here when you're like this, and when you went against everything that we stand for. And just every single time he takes a deep breath and he just goes, Ruben. And you're just like, it's coming. And then like, and it's a heartbreaking movie, but it's kind of uplifting too, because, he has to just slowly accept, even though he fights so hard against it, he has to slowly accept what's happened to him and just be able to find that moment of stillness, so it's a great movie. I love it.
Wow, I remember seeing it and just being blown away. It's on my honorable mentions. It is like actually number 11, I believe. It is a truly phenomenal film when it comes to an acting tour de force from Riz Ahmed. Remember when he was like Nightcrawler? When seeing him be like, he's gonna go places, and he is going to go places, absolutely. And he got an Oscar nomination. So did Paul Raci, the guy from Parks and Recreation. If y'all remember an episode, he had a small bit part in Parks and Recreation. I had to go back and like, I recognize you for somewhere. It is an amazing, amazing film. Just the way they use sound, to me, it kind of not only deserved the Academy Award for Best Sound, but it kind of should question why you guys use sound in a movie, or how you use sound in a film effectively to not only immerse the viewer, but to tell and propel the story further. So it's a great, great film overall. So I'm still lost. Dylan, is that your number?
That was my 3, so I think it goes to Dan now. Yep.
It goes to Dan. Dan, hit us.
I got another round, and I know Dylan's got to talk about that because he had it at number 6. Another film about alcoholism, but this is a different way. It to me, what I got out of this is, there was a lot of pain in the problems that Ben Affleck had in the way back. But for these guys, I guess alcoholism and drinking is handled differently in other countries. And the drinking age is 18 in some of those European countries. And I just felt like this movie really showed that it doesn't matter if you're playing some kind of game or whatever. Alcoholism is a disease. It will affect you. It will affect your family. It will affect your job. It will affect your relationships with the people around you. It's not something to play with. And these guys found out that the hard way in another round, because basically all of their lives are ruined because they decide to do this game of how drunk can we be while we're in our lives with our wives and our children and doing our jobs and stuff. The only one who gets out of it alive, who basically gets out of it, and he almost doesn't get out of it, is the Mads Mikkelsen character. And I just think this is a film about education, about how alcoholism isn't something to play around with, how drinking isn't something to play around with. It is a disease, and it will hurt everybody, including yourself. And Thomas Vinterberg really hit that home by the end of this movie, and Mads Mikkelsen barely escapes.
Mm-hmm. So before, I know, Dan, you have to skedaddle, so you can go ahead and do your final bit. But before we go and you can do that, I know I use that word quite often. It's an underutilized word. But anyone want to say anything on another round before Dan finishes his last little bit?
Really quick, Dan covered it really, really well. But the ending is my favorite ending of the year. It's a perfect way to end it because, like you said, Mads Mikkelsen does he has the more positive experience with it because he's on the polar opposite end where he is like, I'm not doing any of that, and then it actually does kind of improve his energy in a sense. But again, some people do take it too far, so it's about learning that it is, of course, a disease, but also there is some merit to moderation and just finding that balance. And that last dance scene is just so joyous. As sad as the film is, it does have some good comedy but it is just a really, really great just examination of alcoholism as a whole. So yeah, Dan said it best, but yeah, I just love that ending as well.
Yeah, actually, I had this at number 4, and they both framed it perfectly. I just wanted to say, like, it has like the highs and the lows of drinking culture, and I just feel like Thomas Vinterberg, he did The Hunt too, and he's just like does some of the best like Hungarian films with Mads Mikkelsen at the center, and I just feel like they just took it to a place to where you can see the joyous part of engaging in drinking alcohol, and it might broaden your spirits, but it could also come crashing down if you don't find that happy moderation that Dylan mentioned.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Dan, what is your 3?
My number 3, Malcolm, do you have Judas and the Black Messiah below 3?
Yeah, it's higher.
It's higher. Well, I have it at number 3. So
yes. So, because I know that, Dan, you have to go ahead and again, so let's go ahead and talk about Judas and the Black Messiah. Because is it your, wait a minute.
Number 3.
Yes,
number
let's
3.
Go ahead and talk about it.
I mean, Judas is my number 2 anyway, so.
It's
perfect.
My 4. It's my 4, so yeah.
Let's
do
it.
Right around there.
Okay. Judas and the Black Messiah. I'll tell you what. Shaka King really brings you into this world of the Black Panthers in this time period in the 60s and 70s. They get the cars right, the clothes right, the hair right, and the cinematography even has a grain to it, so it looks like it's filmed back in the 70s and the 60s. And that's what I love about this film. And also my number 2, which I'll get to in a minute, that I love it when they can take a period of time and bring you as the viewer into that period of time. And of course, Lakeith Stanfield, but I mean, Daniel Kaluuya, I've been saying it ever since I saw 25,000 credits, the Black Mirror episode with him in it. this kid is gonna be a star someday. Obviously, Get Out, Widows.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he is incredible as this figurehead of the Black Panthers, and the speeches he gives, and how these people just gravitate towards him, including Dominique Fishback, who becomes his wife and bears him children and so forth. But yeah, I mean, this wasn't on my top 10 list before the 2-month Oscar window, but when I saw it at Sundance, it was automatically going to be in my top 10. I know Manning has a bittersweet taste in his mouth regarding Sundance, but I gave him a digital code. He's going to be able to watch it eventually, hopefully, for free, and he's not going to feel bad once he has a chance to see it. But yeah, Judas and the Black Messiah. Wow, great film.
Great movie.
Yeah, no, this is one that I didn't know what to expect when I went to see it, but it's one of those ones that is like I went to the theaters to see it, and it's even more powerful when you're watching it on a big screen. It's just one of those ones that when it goes through the history, and then I had no idea about the Black Panthers, or I'd only just heard of them because of this movie. I didn't even know they existed. But this was just one of those ones that really is so powerful. It's just one of those ones that it came out at the right time it needed, especially with the whole Black Lives Matter movement and everything happening in the States last year. Just, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. Exactly what Malcolm said. It came out at the perfect time. I think if of all these movies, there are so many that are so important about understanding a certain group of people in the world and understanding empathy. And this is another one that is not just a great piece on empathy, but a great period piece as well. It's a really good biopic. It's great. Daniel Kaluuya gives a performance of a lifetime. That scene where he's giving that big rally, and then Lakeith Stanfield's character is also there, and he's making eye contact with Jesse Plemons. Then Dominique Fishback is crying. It's like everyone at their peak in that movie all at the same time, where the movie's hitting its peak dramatically. It is just the perfect combination of everything. So yeah, excellent movie.
My number 2 is like a and B with Judas and the Black Messiah, because it takes place in and around the same world. It takes place in Chicago, just like Judas does. It has a similar aesthetic to it. The cars, the costumes, the clothes, everybody looks and is dressed the same way because it's the 70s and 60s and so forth. So they're like an A and B to each other, really. You could watch them back to back or whatever and kind of get a feeling of what this country was going through in that period of time, and what Chicago, kind of a melting pot of hotness. And I don't know if you call it a melting pot, but it was like a fire going on at that particular moment in Chicago, in that area. And it's called The Trial of the Chicago 7. And I don't know if anybody's got that, but I'll tell you right now, with the archival footage thrown in with the actual like rioting footage, but then the courtroom scene was incredible. The movement of the camera from person to person, and how all the different actors had their moments to shine. Sacha Baron Cohen, Eddie Redmayne, Mark Rylance. I mean, then you see people in the audience. Calvin Harrison Jr. is playing the character that Daniel Kaluuya playing in Judas and the Black Messiah. Well, he's in that crowd sitting there. He's playing that character, Calvin Harrison Jr. So you see the connection between the two films, even though one is directed by a different person and one is directed by somebody else. There's kind of a tie between these two films. And some people said, "Oh, I argue with that," but well, you can argue all you want. I feel like there's a connection between these films. But the judge. I mean, the judge by Franklin Joe. I mean, he doesn't want to hear anything these guys.
Frustrating.
It's just like, wow, this guy's ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
And Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Michael Keaton. I mean, what an amazing cast! I mean, how could you assemble such an incredible cast for a film? Yeah, if this is my second favorite film of the year, and it's still remained all the way till now, because I just loved this film and what it represented.
So first off, I want to say, like, Trial of Chicago 7 is, again, on my honorable mentions. And I think that is a movie that is paint by the numbers, but it is an emotionally gripping, as classic Hollywood as you can get nowadays, at least, I think. And that very well done. The acting all around, that SAG ensemble is a very deserved win. And I genuinely enjoy watching this film. While I don't think it's the best film of the year, it's an enjoyable ride to watch on Netflix. And again, Dan, hit us with that number one before, again, skedaddle.
My number one is Nomad Land. It, to me, is the film that represents the country, what we were going through this whole entire year. It's just in this woman who lives in her van, and when her van starts breaking down, her life starts going to crap, even worse than it already is, because this is her transportation. And she finds these people in Arizona, and they become her friends, but then she still has to survive on her own. She has to go and find food. She has to find work. She has to just go from place to place until she can keep moving around, until she can figure what to do with her life. And she finally eventually has to go back home and go to her family because she has nowhere else to go. And we don't realize how hard life is until you start losing your job, losing your house, losing your car, and you don't have financial stability, and you're just struggling in life. And I've been there time after time in my life. And I've grown up poor my entire life, not having a lot. Yeah, I have some things now, but it doesn't make it easy. I've had struggles with finding jobs. I've had struggle putting meal on the table. And I know what Fern is going through and how difficult that struggle is. And Chloe Zhao really puts you in the shoes of this woman and her plight. And a lot of people in this country were going through this. And it's just a beautiful film. If you know her style, it has like a documentary style to it, but the cinematography is still just gorgeous in this film. And so Nomad Land has always been my number one ever since I saw it back in November. And I just love it that much, and I will always love it. And Nomad Land right here.
I mean, deserving Best Picture winner, honestly.
Yeah.
And finally, Dan, any honorable mentions you want to quickly shout out?
Yeah, I got Minari, The Father, Invisible Man, The Mauritanian, and News of the World.
Nice.
Oh, News of the World! I forgot about. Wow, that was a solid film.
and I forgot to say, because we haven't had a chance to talk about it, Promising Young Woman.
Awesome. So, all right. I know you need to get going, Dan. Before you go, could you send in the chat your top 10 so we can reference it as we go and make that list and everything?
Yep.
So, perfect. While Dan is doing that, before we go, so where
Dan,
were
I have
we?
it. Just what's your number 9? Sorry.
Oh wow.
My number 9 was Promising Young Woman.
Okay. And what was your number 8?
My number 8 was I'm trying to find it now. Hold on here. I gotta go.
Oh yeah, send
I'm
it.
trying to remember now.
I have it like everybody's list. Like I've been.
You do?
Hold on.
Oh, look at you, sir.
Hold on. Let me find it here.
Abe is the great note taker.
Wow. Sorry, I'm taking up time from you guys. My number 8 is Promising Young Woman. Oh, my number 9 was My Octopus Teacher. My number 8 is Promising Young Woman.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So, as we were, so Abe, Dylan,
it would have
Dan.
been Chad. It would be Chad.
Okay, Chad.
4 and 3. Yeah.
4 and 3. All right.
Can I quickly touch on Nomad Land since you just talked about it? Or...
Does anyone have it
I
higher?
have it higher. I have it higher.
You have it
have it
higher.
higher
Okay.
Unless we'll save that
That
talk.
was my 10.
Objection.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Objection. Cool. All right. So my wait, I'm sorry. What am I at?
You're at
Four.
3 and 4.
4. Son of
3
Metal.
and 4. Well, I actually talked about my 3 and 4 already. Sound of Metal and Another Round. So.
Oh, then there we go. So
move on.
Malcolm, 3 and 4.
Well, my number 4 is going to be an objection. It's Nomad Land.
Objection.
It's okay. My 4. You objected it
my
again.
number 3 is Promising Young Woman.
Yeah, it's a slight objection.
Okay, nice. We're about these next few are about to be condensed real fast.
Yeah.
So that means we have 1 and 2, and I'm really curious now how this is going to shape out, because I know there's a couple of things that this is very top heavy. We all have very similar along those lines. Dan, goodbye, sir. Goodbye. All right, Dan has skedaddle. So now it is, and then there were 5 on the island. My number 2 is one that I know none of you will have. This is a movie that I saw after it had gotten an Oscar nomination, because I tried to watch as many Oscar nominations films as I can. This one I just decided to watch on a whim because people kept saying it was emotionally devastating. So why not put myself through that on just a Saturday? Because that's what we do with movies. We feel things, and this movie is the definition of eliciting emotion. This is one that permeated in my brain in a way that reminded me of like Schindler's List, if you will. This is one that I think is just a devastating film to witness and not an easy watch. And that is Quo Vadis Aida.
I've been meaning to see that, yeah.
It is one that I would all highly recommend you all see. It is I believe that it is Bosnian. The Bosnian submission for the foreign language film. It is one where you need to sit down, make sure you are mentally prepared, because it is a roller coaster of emotion. It kind of takes place over a period of a few days, and kind of the fallout of a genocide that I didn't even know occurred. I'm not even going to try to pronounce many of the names we have there, but the Serbian army basically took over a town. Families on the thousands are forced to flee this town into the hands of the UN. Ultimately, the UN cannot contain, and people are left outside the defenses, just sitting there waiting to be picked up. And it just kind of shows the failure of what an organization the UN is, and what we are as humans. It is kind of shows the depravity of what. We are objectively a failure, not only as an organization for the UN, but as human beings. We let this happen. It's literally just happened, and we did nothing. And it kind of shows, movies like this show the horrors of things that we may not be aware of or may not know the extent of. And this film, I think, does that perfectly. Not many people have seen it, I know, but I would encourage you all to see it. It is a perfect film in the sense that it's not one language. Like they'll go between Dutch, they'll go between English, they'll go between Bosnian. So it is a melting pot. We used that term before, but it is in fact a melting pot of different languages together. So it's not just one the entire time. It feels alive. It feels organic, and it puts you in a place where you're witnessing this transpire. And that's why Quo Vadis Aida is my second favorite film of this year. No one has it, I'm guessing.
Hey, Manning, if you're in the fetal position by the end of a movie, you know it's good.
Exactly. It did its job as a film if you're crying. And I was crying. It is I won't say, but the last few minutes are another good emotionally that are in the kin of I hate doing Schindler's List again, but it's very much akin to I Could Have Saved One More in a different emotionally heartbreaking way. Mm-hmm. And number 1 is Minari. Nice. My number 1 film of the year is, in fact, 5. Minari. Nice. So what was Minari for all of y'all again?
5.
It was my number 9, which is very low. I put it really low.
7.
Ridiculous.
7. And then Malcolm, was it on yours, Minari?
I've never seen it. It's not on my list.
Oh, it's okay. That's okay. It is in fact a beautiful, beautiful film. It is a testament to the American dream. And Stephen Yeun gave a great interview with Variety, or was it for the Variety or the Hollywood Reporter? I can't remember exactly, but he talked about how this movie didn't want to just be a Korean film. This was also an American film and a Korean film. It was a universal film about what does it mean to try to fulfill a dream. And while in fact he was Korean, he wanted to make it accessible for everyone who saw it, and you could see yourself in a way. And while I didn't see myself directly, I saw many people that I have known, and I have seen many people in situations that is akin to Nomad Land in a way. It's kind of an adjacent in a small way of what happens when that American dream doesn't work out. This is the case where it doesn't work out in the way you want it, but something else transpires, and how the meeting of these two cultures culminates and clashes, but also finds a marriage in a way into this new life. It is beautiful. It is heartbreaking, and it's almost an antithesis of what we consider the American dream to be. And I love it. It's an amazing film. Yoo Jung-un is hysterical. Alan Kim is hysterical. Their dynamic is so sweet, and just I recommend you all see it. Minari is just a movie that I'm going to go back to for what it represents, and I think it's a film that I encourage you all to see.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite ensemble of the year, even though it's not necessarily like the quantity of like a Trial of the Chicago 7 or anything. I think it definitely has the quality. I mean, that relationships, all the relationships between every character has their own relationships with one another, and it's all so distinctly different. Just a beautiful film. You said everything. You took all the words out of my mouth.
I waited to watch it until a day before the Oscars, and I told you guys like what's the day before the Oscars, because it was in theaters.
I think it was the day
I gotta
before.
watch it in theaters. Yeah, and it takes you into this journey of this family that, as you say, the American dream that we all have paint. Well, all the people have paint on their heads. Like, you gotta work to earn a living and stuff, and then a lot of things that I think have you seen all. They go through a lot of things. I'm gonna keep it like things through the movie, like, and you empathize with them because whatever, it's a family, and those interactions is one that we all have with our families. Like, it's different how you interact with your grandpa as you do with your father, as you do with your mother, or whatever. And I told you guys, like, after the Oscars, like, it might not be my favorite of the year, but I thought this had all the elements like for the best pictures. Like, I think they dropped a campaign that could have won best picture this year, because I thought it has the strongest case out of every film. Like, it had everything. I think from even the direction, the script, the character, the performance, like, it was level in all of the ways. And
well-rounded.
I still think, yeah, well-rounded, as you say. I think A24 dropped the campaign for this one, and I'm still mad about it, because like, what won best picture? Oh, Nomad Land. Well, Nomad Land's good. It's really good. Really good. but like, still, I think like it's not that mold that we're used to, and I think Minari fits that mold, and that I think could have won best picture with a better campaign, if I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Minari was actually my first movie going back to the theaters, and I just bought it on Blu-ray.
Nice.
So I've only seen it once, but I'm going to watch it again, and it'll probably be higher on my list after I watch it again, because I really loved it the first time I saw it. And yeah, like everybody said, I can't add too much more, except just, it is all about the relationships when you have, the father teaching the son about what it is to be a man, and, to be useful as a man, because, men that aren't useful are, discarded basically, and, just kind of eaten up, and you have to be tough and, all that stuff. And then you have a relationship between him and his grandma, and that just grows so much to be like, this beautiful relationship. Because at first he hates her. She's not a real grandma. She's like this weird Korean lady that came from nowhere and doesn't do anything. She doesn't bake pies. So, what use is she to him? And then, just the relationship builds, and then you find that, he does need her, and he does, it's a beautiful film.
And Abe, tell us then, what is your 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, either one?
Okay, number 2 is The Father. Does anybody have a number 1? No?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. Well
Okay.
then,
So
nice.
I'm gonna push it then. So I know nobody's gonna have this one. So I'm gonna tell you a story before I give you my number 1. because I'm about to get some shit, even not bad for life. The last movie I
Sonic the
watched in
Hedgehog.
theaters.
No.
No.
No, is this what I think it is?
Yes, the last movie I watched in theaters was March 22nd. It was Bloodshot. It's not a good taste, right? No, it's not. That's not my number one. I'm just telling you a story.
Oh no, he was not.
Yeah. Then I was able to go back to the theaters on October to watch Tenet, and then I watched another movie. And those two experiences never got me like back into the mood of going to the movies. Until in December, I watched this movie about this superheroine, which I know I'm about to get crap about, which is Wonder Woman 1984. And let me tell you something. And I know you're gonna say this is stupid and everything, but like,
I'm not gonna
as
say that.
someone that truly values the cinema going experience, was the first time I felt back to the movies in a long time. Like 9 months is a lot. I don't remember how long. Like, I've been going to the movies every week, like since 2018. Since 2015. Since 2018, my mom let me go along to the movies. But like, and it take me back. It truly did. Like, you can go about the logic, the performance, and everything. And I haven't checked it out, but like, that movie just like, I won't tell you like, oh, this is the best movie of the year. No way, Jose. Like, I can make an argument for number 10 in my list right now that it's way better than Wonder Woman. But this one, like, just took me to a level of happiness I hadn't felt in a while. Like, I don't give a lot of 5-star movies. And the last time I gave a 5-star movie, I told these guys in the podcast, was like 6 years ago when I watched The Bridge on the River Kwai for the first time. And I gave this one 5 stars because I just felt happy for it. Like, Maybe I just value more the experience in the movie, but like, that was Wonder Woman made me feel, and that's why it's my number one.
Well,
So,
shit,
you
man.
guys
Now I can't shit talk the movie.
Thank you.
You can't. That was so
beautiful.
passionate.
Thank you.
That made me like now be like, well, it's definitely gonna it's probably gonna fall in our final top 10, and I'm okay with that after what you said. I'm okay with that.
Thank you. Now you can shit talk it out of it. Somebody wrote an article shit talking Shrek today, and I was like, what the fuck?
I know.
That Guardian guy?
Get it.
Like, tell you, it's no Mamma Mia. That's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have vindicated Abe so much today, Dylan.
Yeah.
I like this guy so much.
He doesn't get this at all here on the podcast. All right, so we have Abe. Dylan, take us home with your 2 and 1.
My number 2 is Nomad Land. So is it anyone's number 1? Okay, so this is the highest it is. Well, it was Dan's number 1.
There we go.
So yeah, we'll talk about it. The amount of empathy, again, like I keep saying, empathy, because this is just such an empathetic group of films that was nominated, and this one just goes over the bar in terms of that, just making you feel for this group of people that I haven't been able to relate with. I don't know that walk of life, but I felt like I did watching the movie. I felt every step of the way. I find it beautiful that, yeah, some people are saying, oh, it's just a documentary, but you know, I do think because these nomads, they are telling some of their stories, but a lot of it is fictionalized, and it's really impressive to see them act, because you know, it could have been a disaster had they just been reading from a script, because these aren't trained actors, but to see them give these beautiful monologues, especially Swanky's moment about the little bird eggshells on the lake and the nests, and then she gets the text video later on in the film where she's actually made it, and then again at the end with the campfire where they throw the rocks in. I mean, it's just a beautiful through line of this whole movie, just all these different stories coming together. And yeah, it is Fern's movie, Frances McDormand's movie, but I do argue that it's more about all the people she interacts with just as much as it is her. It's a beautiful film. Chloe Zhao, only the second woman to ever win Best Director, and I think it was very well earned. Just a great piece of art in general.
No, yeah, absolutely. I will add that it's very much about her, but it's also about how she interacts with the people around her and what she does, not only with the location she is in, but also with the people that she literally shares her life with. What was the name? She had a really great piece with the old man. He had a big long
Bob Wells.
Thank you, Bob Wells. There was a really great scene where he was talking and opening up about his thinking about that scene just really like it hits home. It hits me about losing his son, and like what that means. And it's just thinking about it now just brings me to a place of just it's human. This movie is incredibly human. It doesn't have anything super flashy. It just takes you on a journey of these individuals, and you see it through the eyes of Fern, of someone who has been jaded by the American dream, has lost everything, and has held on to that grief. And what Chloe Zhao has done is made a movie that, Dylan, you're right, empathy. She has made you empathize with people you may not think about, but she has shown a side of America, people over even not just on the Western side of America, but something that is truly deep inside of us. Something, a longing to belong, and a longing to just let go when our grief can sometimes be too much. Because these people help her through her grief. David Statham's character helps her through her grief. The people that she shares her life with make her grow, and I think that's a testament to what that means for us as humans. And it's again, I will always call Nomad Land, maybe my favorite film of the year, but Nomad Land is the most human film of the year, and is Dan is right, a great representation of this year.
Yeah, like Nomad Land was actually my number 10. It dropped so low because it actually just got so hyped up for me over the year. When I finally saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, this is really good, but like I've seen other like better ones in my view, and I think I prefer the writer to this movie too. So I don't know. I mean, maybe if I rewatch it down the road after like no one's talking about it anymore, maybe it'll jump up higher. I don't know. I really like the cinematography in it. I like the story of it. With Chloe and Francis, living out of vans and doing stuff. It's definitely like a badass movie in that way. Very innovative. Yeah, I mean, like all the relationships, I thought it was crazy how they let them film in an Amazon warehouse.
I know, right?
Not even, it's not painting your company in a good light, dude. Why are you guys anyways?
Although apparently there was an article going around saying you didn't demonize Amazon enough, and it's like we do that every. It's like we do that every day. Everyone knows this.
Yeah.
I mean, was this was filmed during the pandemic, wasn't it, or was it before the pandemic? Because if it was filmed during the pandemic, then I mean, Amazon probably dead for the warehouses to be used for something.
They're like, no one's using it. But like, what I want to Malcolm, where was it again on your list?
4.
Okay, so please, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Nomad Land is just a movie that I watched for the first time sort of recently, just because it only just dropped onto Disney Plus for me, and it was one of those ones where, I mean, I'm kind of Chad. I think the hype kind of dampened my expectations for the movie a little bit, but it's just one of those ones that it's a gorgeous movie. Like Frances McDormand was deserved of Best Actress, and there's nothing much I can say that no one else has already said. But it's just one of those ones when you get all these sort of real life nomads, sort of in there. It just added a little bit more realism to the story than what you would have gotten had you got just people acting the part of the nomads.
Mm-hmm. Fun fact, apparently, Nomad Land was filmed over 4 months in the fall of 2018. So that was a good ways ago, actually.
Can I say something?
Please, yeah.
Oh yeah, I watched Nomad twice. I watched it first like on my computer, like 13-inch, and I have to say I was not impressed because I thought like, well, yeah, it looks beautiful. It's something. But when I rewatched in the theater, like you really start falling in love like with Friend's character. Like it takes you into this journey, and like as you say, a really human journey, like of meeting people and what people go through, and we all have a past that is always carried with us. And I think it's what happens at the end. Like she goes back to her house. I will go back to the moment, like our life started. We go back to those moments, like change her life, and that's what the visit, like she goes into her journey, but at the end she doesn't end in the same point, but like in a different situation, but in the same point. I hope I'm making sense of it. Yeah,
Yes,
like
you
full
make sense.
circle. Yeah, and it's beautiful. Like I don't know if you guys watch it in the cinema, but like when I was watching, like the colors, like the skyline, like it's just majestic. Like to watch it, like and we know have like the lighting and maybe some color correction, but like it's a really beautiful film and human and everything. And I'm just gonna repeat, like say it. You just gets better as you keep watching. Like you became engaged with the story and who and what she's going through for the whole movie.
Now, I think we have two films that we have, if I recall correctly, that we have objected to and thrown out a little later. There's two films I know, and I think I know what your number one is, Dylan. May I take a stab at it?
You can. I think we might have three, but I don't know.
Three. Okay, we might have three. I could be.
You can take
I
a
could be
stab
very
if
wrong.
you want.
I'm gonna take a stab at it. Is it The Invisible Man?
It is. It is. It is. I kind of along the lines of what Abe said with Wonder Woman 84. It is the last movie I saw before the theaters all shut down. Yeah, I actually got an advanced screening to Onward, so I did see that before Invisible Man. But Invisible Man is just it made me so excited to go back to theater and watch it again, and I never got that opportunity. And it was almost that bittersweet thing where I was like, damn, I'll never see that in a theater again. But then I was also like, but if there's one to go out on, like that was a fun one to go out on. And it might not be the best movie of this bunch, but I do think it is my favorite. I think the craft is great. It's just so well made, but it has a great commentary as well. It doesn't fret away from that. The commentary about abuse and what it means to live with an abuser and have people gaslight you and have people not believe you and all these layers that you don't see in horror movies all the time, especially big commercial studio ones. You see with like the A24s, obviously, but this is a big studio horror film that brings a lot of these conversations to the table. Elizabeth Moss is incredible. Oscars always overlook horror. They overlooked Toni Collette. They overlooked Lupita Nyong'o and Us. They overlooked her. They're probably going to overlook another great horror performance this year, whatever that may be. So yeah, just the perfect movie, I think, to end my movie going of 2020, because I didn't get back to a theater I think till early 2021 with Nomad Land, so it's great that that's like my 1 and 2 is like the bookends. But yeah, just that movie just always stuck with me. I've watched it 4 or 5 times since. I love it so much, so I had to put personal preference over what I think is the best, but even then I think it's still really, really well made.
Dill,
Hey, it's your top 10.
Dude, I definitely have to disagree with you here. I think this is the best movie that we've talked about today. You have.
Is it your one, Chad, or your 2?
It's my 1.
Oh,
Man is my number 1. We haven't really discussed my number 2 yet, but yeah, I definitely put this at number 1. For me, it's very similar for what happened with you. It wasn't my final. I think Onward was my last, but I think I saw The Invisible Man right before this. I don't remember, but I absolutely love this movie. How am I forgetting the name of the director? Please help me out here.
Leigh Whannell.
Leigh Whannell, just his trajectory from writing Saw and just being that creative partner with James Wan and not making Saw's pretty good, but not making some of the best movies until he gets to Upgrade, and then you start to see like this rise of this like holy shit, like the way he knows how to move the camera and just the precision of it. With The Invisible Man, just like that opening scene, it's like one of the best I've ever seen, where it's just you can hear like a pin drop. You're just like, it's almost kind of like A Quiet Place in a way, where you're just wishing for her to get out of the situation. And it just makes domestic abuse so terrifying. And just like when you finally get into the car with her, and you see him come out of the woods chasing at her, that's just like horrifying. What he has to go through the rest of the movie in her head. Like when it's almost kind of like It Follows in a way. It's like, which is another great horror film. It's like, when is this thing going to get me? Because it's somewhere out there. And then they personify that with him being able to become invisible. So it's not even just a metaphor for her. It's actually real. And like, you know, she has to sit there and wonder, is he right next to me? You know, I can't even go out to the mailbox. I'm too afraid that, you know, he's just going to be there because, you know, for people who have to go through things like this, you know, they basically, you know, live this like it's always going to be there and always ever present. And yeah, it just Elizabeth Moss, you know, I think may be one of the best, you know, it's definitely in my top 3 of performances. And yeah, she's great in us too. Just a great actress. And yeah, I definitely love that movie. It's definitely my number 1.
Incredibly underrated performance. And
number 2 yet.
Oh, well.
Leon does something in this film, like, it made me look easier because, well, you have an invisible character the whole time. Like, the tension that's there, it's just incredible. Like, I love
no visual effects
feeling.
nomination. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I love feeling anything in the movie theater. Like, if you make me feel something, you're doing something right. Like, I don't mind if it's crying or being angry. Well, angry in the right way, right? But like, I remember just feeling tense. Like, I was tired after watching this movie because, like, of what he does. Like, the whole, I don't remember that much, but I just remember the feeling of having it because I only watched it once. Like, that time I watched, I believe I watched in Dolby Atmos. It was like crazy good. Like, it was like evolving. If that's a word, I don't know. But like that's why it's my number 3. Like, I remember the experience, like being tired of it. Like, please stop, but I want to keep watching. Just end now. So it's great. And as you guys mentioned, like Elizabeth Moss, like she's just crushing it right now. Like, she's gonna get that Oscar soon. I bet she's that in the next 5 years she's gonna get that Oscar.
Amen.
Yeah.
She absolutely deserves that. It's on my honorable mentions, and I think it's a very good film. I wasn't as gripped by it. There's another horror film. I actually mentioned His House that if you guys have seen that I really enjoy. Really enjoy. But I think Elizabeth Moss should have been in the conversation for Best Actress at the very least because of what she did and what she was able to play off of nothing that was there and managed to create a very layered character. And I think it's a really, really good, terrifying film. So great choice. I'm really happy that we have some horror representation here, like high up. You guys tag team this, and who knows, this might be.
I love it.
Yeah,
dude.
I didn't know Chad was gonna put it at 1. I thought his number 2 would be his number 1 because it was on Picture This.
I gotcha.
I'll let him take it away.
Well, by that token, we know what your number 1 is, Chad. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Promising Young Woman. I finally got to go see this in the theater after. So this is the weird thing. Like, I had a lot of buzz, but it wasn't everyone praising it. It was like a lot of division, and people were like, I don't know how you'll feel, Chad. And then I finally got to see this, and then like it's you know, great. And then you get to the end, and I know this is where a lot of people drop off, but for me, I loved it. I just love, like, you know, kind of revenge films a lot of the time. And, you know, this one actually kind of is a horror movie in a way. Like, you know, everything that happened to her friend is horrific. And, you know, she has to basically relive that in her head and miss her friend this whole movie. And, you know, she does some weird problematic stuff where, you know, she goes to try to get people to you know, prey on her and stuff like that. And, you know, she exposes a lot of, like, you know, types of people that you'll probably meet in these, like, dating scenes. And I just think, like, you know, when you get to show that type of, you know, thing in a movie, I just think it's amazing. How, like, you know, because no one really talks about this, like, toxic masculinity, and, you know, really just shows it in a movie this way. And then, like, I don't know if I want to spoil the ending, but the way it plays out is just so you just don't expect it. And, like, you know, it's just like I just want to say, like, Bo Burnham's face just kind of, like, at the very end, just like, you know, says it all for me. Just like, what the fuck is going on right now with this movie? It's just, you know, I just love how, you know, I know Chloe Zhao really deserved her thing, but I also think Emerald Fennell deserved it as well. So really, if they could have just split it in half, you know, I think that would have been amazing. And I'm so glad it won original screenplay, because it's just she crafted this beautiful movie. I just love the way they use color in the movie and the framing techniques in this movie. It's just, and then you just got to have Bo Burnham's one of my favorite comedians, and so then you have the scene with them singing Paris Hilton in the convenience store. Just one of my favorite scenes of the year. And when he pops that bag of chips and they're just having this montage, love it.
But yeah, this was my number 3. Yeah, this is one that I knew nothing about. I just finished Roots, so I'd go to the movies to watch something. Saw this there and thought, this looks promising, so I went to see it.
Nice.
And I was pleasantly surprised. And yeah, but yeah, this totally deserved best sort of screenplay. I know some people who really weren't that happy with the screenplay, but I thought it was great. And I mean, even the music itself has become just that moment they did the whole instrumental version of Toxic, which was just so fitting. And it was just one of those ones which I thought it's great. It's one of those ones like Carey Mulligan is great. I kind of wish that she had won Best Actress, but Frances McDormand was just as good as well. So it was definitely a heavy, hot race between all of them, because this was one of those red Best Actress races that could have just gone anywhere, because everyone was voting in different places.
For sure.
Is it, Dylan? Did you have it on your?
I did not. Yeah, I've spoken about my issues with the movie on Picture This and other places. I think it's the fact, kind of what Dan was saying with Dick Johnson is Dead. Comedy's subjective, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And with this subject matter, sometimes it landed for me, sometimes it didn't work for me. With everything else, but Carey Mulligan is ridiculously good. It's probably my second favorite performance of hers, next to Shame, the Michael Fassbender, Steve McQueen film. That is probably my second favorite Carey Mulligan performance of all time. She is excellent in this. And I think this will be the role she's remembered for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Abe, and that was on your list as well too?
Oh yeah, that was, what was it, number 6? Yeah, I think it was number 6. Okay, yeah. I think I've said you guys that this movie would have been better if they would have applied the show don't tell. If they would have done some flashbacks, I think the movie would have hit differently. But it's still, I think Carey Mulligan, she just crushed it. I remember watching the trailer of this back in January, February, and saying I need to watch this. I don't know when it's coming out, but I need to watch this. I was so excited for that movie, and it did not disappoint. And sure, the movie has some moments with the ending. I do have problems with the ending, but still, I think all the what happens before it truly takes. Oh, sorry, somebody's outside. It really takes the. No, just jumping. Well, whatever. The movie is great. You should watch it. And it has a message, and I think it's an important message, about toxic masculinity, that we have to be. I mean, just like the Gillette commercial, we have to be better. Everybody, but as men too. We have to understand that women are not objects or anything.
We absolutely have to.
And
I agree.
I actually timed this. There's a 2-minute sequence that doesn't cut away. That's just powerful.
Oh wow! I need to go.
The ending. So if you haven't seen it, there you go.
Yeah. There you go. And then I know, Dylan, you have to skedaddle.
I can hang. This is the last movie I think we're talking about after this, so I can hang around another 10 minutes. I gave a text warning, letting people know I'll be there a little late. Yep.
All right. Wanted to make sure. Because again, I wanted to stop at 2 hours, but you know what? I knew this was going to happen. Fine. We never end it with the time you want to.
We could have been talking about 60 movies today if we all had different top 10. So I was prepared for it, and I want to get to this ranking too. So I want to stick around for it.
So our final first off, my thoughts on Promising Young Woman, since that was the first movie we actually got out the gate with, and it was almost the last one we talked about. That's actually kind of ironic, Promising Young Woman, I think, is an incredible. Me and my girlfriend, I remember we watched it. We rented it for $20, and I was like, you know what? This is the first movie during the entire pandemic that I spent $20 for, and I was not disappointed. It is, to me, genuinely, I think it is it plays with the genre so well for a subject matter that is very heavy, very dark, but it does it in a way where it doesn't feel like it's always it's a looming shadow, but it's not foreboding. There is a lightness to it, this film, in the color palette, but also in like the way that the character presents herself. She's very, she presents herself in a way that's like, yeah, I'm kind of cool and collected, but on the inside she has this plan, and I feel you feel for her, you feel what she's going through, and then the twist by the very end, you don't see that coming, and it's kind of emotionally devastating to witness, because that's not how movies are supposed to go, but that's life. And they did a great job to show, like, hey, you know what, there isn't always a happy ending, but there is justice. There may not be a happy ending, but at the end of the day, there is justice. Not all the time, but in this case, there was. And I think it's really good. Also, I did not know Bo Burnham could do drama. So
God.
Good on you, Bo. Good on you.
Right?
Did not think about that.
Great
So he did incredibly good. I know. Yeah, and that is my thoughts on Promising Young Woman. I didn't love it. Dylan, I think some of the stuff you have are some of the things I have, but I think it's just overall a really great film. And overall, Emerald Fennell did a really good job structuring everything when it comes to editing and just writing it. But anyway, our final film, I definitely can tell. Malcolm, what's your number? What was your number 2 again? And what was your number 1? Malcolm, you're muted. I did the same thing. It's okay.
I did a Manning.
You did a Manning. You did a Manning.
But my number 2 was Judas and the Messiah. I've already talked about it earlier. But my number 1 is The Father.
Yes.
This is one that I went in not knowing what to expect, because this is one of those ones that is a kind of a personal thing to me as well, because my grandfather suffered from dementia a lot, and so it's one I was like, do I really want to go in and see this? Is like, yes, I do, but it's one that I've heard so much about, and all that. But I'm glad I did. This is a great movie, and the way that they edited it, and sort of structured this whole movie, you kind of not really knowing what is real, what's not. It's as if you're feeling what it's like to have dementia, which I feel like was what Florian Zeller wanted in the first place. And Anthony Hopkins was just amazing. He deserved to win. Olivia Colman was great. And yeah, this is just one of those movies that was amazing from start to finish. And I'm probably going to end up buying it on DVD at some stage, but yeah.
Oh, 100%. This movie, this is my number 3, I believe, and it is. I kept putting it off. There was an ongoing joke on the podcast that I was the only person to not have seen The Father, and then I finally saw it, and I was. A lot of movies this year were emotionally devastating. Not a lot of real uplifting films this year when you look back at it, which I think is symbolic of the year we've had. Regardless, The Father is just a film that I think Florian Zeller manages to craft a fantastic screenplay, weaving in all these plots into, again, as Malcolm, you were saying, they managed to portray dementia in a way that I thought, I feel like I understand it better than I did before I watched it. Whether that's accurate or not, I'll need to, ask the experts, but I feel like I have a better understanding of what that is like for someone, more so than I saw it beforehand. And Anthony Hopkins, I feel, gives, and I'm going to say it, his best performance I have ever seen. I love Remains of the Day. Better than that, I love Silence of the Lambs, but he does more in The Father to me personally. Mm-hmm. While he is more iconic in Silence of the Lambs, The Father, I think, is a more versatile performance, especially by I get to the end where I was just bawling. Me and my girlfriend were watching it, and we were just like, it hits home. It hits home in a way, even if you don't know someone personally with dementia, it hits home in a way to show the effects of what being you feel like could be forgotten or being left or just being left behind can feel like to someone who has lived their entire life. And as Anthony Hopkins, someone who was 83, 84, I believe, he represented what I think was a very natural performance. And I adore the production design is also something I want to highlight because that was really baller production design.
Baller.
I know, bringing out all these fun words, you know.
Good word.
It was not my number 2. Like that movie, like I entered the theater like 3 minutes late, and I was like, "What is happening?" But like when I started getting the sense of it, it was like, "Oh my god, he's doing that, and it's working perfectly, and he's doing it seamlessly." I thought the editing was amazing. I told you guys that I think it was the best editing of the year, and Anthony Hopkins, like I think he gave the best performance of the 14 months that they're counting, whatever. Yes. But like, and I thought like he deserved that Oscar. Like you guys have mentioned all of that. I don't want to make this any longer than it should be.
Yes,
we're already 25 plus.
Yes,
the mic.
All right, so with that, we have finally gone through our entire list. And Abe, you have been keeping track of all our list, right? God bless you, sir.
So so I'm gonna tell you something. I have a top 10 right now, but I just want to make sure. Manny, what was your number 9?
My number 9. Oh, so you already have a top 10. Have you been doing this while we have been?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my
wizard!
Holy cow, sir. My number 9 was, in fact, I believe it was Collective.
Okay, so that won't change everything.
Nope.
Dylan, what was your number 10?
My number 10 was The Assistant. Also not going to change anything.
That won't change.
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the way I did it. So I gave 10 points to the number 1 for each one, and the math gave itself.
That's what I would have done.
There's a tie in number 10 and 11, and I don't know how you want to tie break it. That's the way you decide.
Don't tie break it. We'll leave it.
Top 11 sounds cool.
Top 11 does sound cool. Let's do it.
So do you want me to send it to you, or just say?
Just say it. Let's do it. Send it to me. Send it in the chat. Okay, so good job on you, Abe. So wow, did not expect that. I expected we were gonna have like a deliberation, a debate. Okay, we'll look at it and then we can be like, no, I'm not agree with that. But I trust you, Abe.
I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna see your reactions. So at number 11 and 10. With 11 points, if you would say so. It's Palm Springs and Soul.
Oh, wow.
Number 9 is Thinking of Ending Things.
I'm thinking of things. Nice. I'm glad that made it.
Number 8 is Son of Metal.
Nice.
Wow.
Okay, here we have a tie. So you have to decide what do you want to be number, 7 and 6? Okay. So it's either The Invisible Man. Oh, wait. No, I'm wrong. That's another tie. It's Another Round or Minari. I will give it to Minari because Manning has at number 1. And Another Round is in nobody's number 1.
I agree with that.
It's true.
Yeah.
So it's Another Round and Minari. Now we have another tie, which I think we should follow the same logic, which is Invisible Man and Judas and the Black Messiah. So
it's
I agree.
Number 1, yeah.
Okay.
No, it's definitely above.
Then we have Promising Young Woman. Like it's in everybody's list. Well,
yes,
except Dylan. So, and good points. Then we have The Father. That one was super. Am I right? Yeah, we have The Father, and we have actually a clear number 1. Like for 10 points, is Nomad Land.
Oh wow! Oh,
I think it was the only one that was on all 6 of ours. I recollect correctly.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Wow. Then I guess that makes sense. Then at the end of the day, why that was on.
Do you want me to repeat it?
Please, but do the number as well too, so we know where we are.
Number 10, a tie. Soul and Palm Springs. Number 9, Thinking of Ending Things. Number 8, Son of Metal. Number 7, Another Round. Number 6, Minari. Number 5, Judas and the Black Messiah. Number 4, The Invisible Man. Number 3, Promising Young Woman. Number 2, The Father. And number 1, Nomad.
That's a solid list right there.
We did well.
I would say, hey, that was a pretty good. I'm going to try
Sorry
to find a
for
way to
taking
visually.
that. Sorry for taking the excitement of the argument. I had to do something.
Listen, at the end of the day, you saved us probably 30 more minutes
Do you
deliberating
want me
and
to share my
everything.
screen? I'm gonna share my
Please share your screen. Yes, give us an idea of what it looks like. Is that something you can do on your end? Can you in fact share the screen? While you're sharing the screen, Dylan, what are your honorable mentions that you have that we have not talked about?
Yes, that we've not talked about.
Yes. Or we have talked about. What are your honorable mentions in general on that list?
Okay, so I'm thinking of ending things. The Father, One Night in Miami was one of mine. Da 5 Bloods, Spike Lee. Love and Monsters, Never Really, Sometimes Always. All the Small Axe films, if you count them as films. Borat subsequent movie film, Onward, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and Wolfwalkers were all my honorable mentions.
Okay, nice. And Chad, since we lost Abe, what are your honorable mentions we have and have not talked about?
Yep, I have Run, Soul, Pieces of a Woman, Bad Education, Never Rarely, Sometimes Always, Boys for Life, and whether you count these as films or not, Small Axe and Hamilton. Wolfwalkers, Demon Slayer, The Kid Detective, I Care a Lot, Da 5 Bloods, and The Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Abe's back, but I can't see him. In the meantime, while I can't see Abe, Malcolm, what are your honorable mentions?
So for me, I had this Black Beauty that came out on Disney Plus. Birds of Prey.
Oh yeah.
The New Mutants was actually I thought was really fun.
Oh.
And I'm surprised no one had this on the list. I'm actually surprised it wasn't on mine. Personal History of David Copperfield was such a delight.
Yeah. I know you love that film. I know you love that film. It's one of your favorites of the year.
I don't know. I don't know why I can share my screen, but I send it through Facebook. So if you guys want to watch it and see that I'm telling the truth,
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
There is.
Well, he didn't put Bad Boys for Life at number 1, so. You know.
Oh yeah, Bad Boys for Life didn't make it.
Or Wonder Woman. So.
Oh wait, did Wonder Woman not get a chance to make it even to number 1?
Well, I mean, the bottom 2 was tied at 11. I think Abe said. So.
Ah, that's. I'm so sorry. We should, but you know what? Let's add it. Let's add a 12th one, and that one is Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman.
We're gonna do that. That is your honorary 12th one. So, and again, I only have 5 for my honorable mentions. I tried to get 15 in there. But for my 15 that I have number 11. No one talked about this. And I'm not sure everyone's feelings on it, but The White Tiger.
Great movie.
Love The White Tiger. 12, Sound of Metal. Number 13, His House, which I think is a genuinely fantastic horror film. It was horrifying. And the fact that it takes place all in one room, I love it. I love claustrophobic horror films because you can do so much. Anyway, moving on. And the other last 2 I have are, did I get that? Wow, I did this one movie twice. Whoopsie, that's not right. I have at number 15, I have The Invisible Man. And then at number 14, I switched around because I accidentally did Invisible Man twice. So at number 14, I have Once Upon a Time. Wait, Once Upon a Time in Miami. That's not right. Once Upon a Time in Miami.
One Night in
Miami.
I forgot to put that on my honorable mention. That's a great movie.
Dude, I want to make a movie called like that. Once Upon a Time.
Once Upon a Time in Miami is probably Tarantino's sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Or how do you combine them? It's like Once Upon a Time, or it's like One Night in Hollywood, and then Once Upon a Time in Miami. There you go.
It's like Brad Pitt and Leslie Odom Jr. combined. It's a team up.
I'd watch that.
I mean, Leslie Odom Jr. is just joined the cast of Knives Out too. So.
Yep.
I am down for that.
It's a pretty stacked cast already.
It is a stacked cast. But all right, so we are definitely going super long, and I know this is around people's bedtimes. I know it's around my bedtime. I get 11 o'clock. So, but Dylan, sir, Chad's already asleep. We'll wake him. Dylan, wake him up for me. Dylan, where can the people find you as our special guest?
You can find me. I actually wrote it down here. The Dill Pickle Movie Network. We do lots of fun shows over there, including one with Chad. Picture This, as we talked about a little before. We take every year, we go through every Best Picture nominee of that year, dissect it, award our own Best Actor and Actress. We're gonna do an episode recording tomorrow of 1944. Interesting year of cinema. Classics. And then we will be doing 2011 next month, but you guys are the first to hear that. Yeah, so 10 years later, 2011. Crazy it's been 10 years. But yeah, I do other shows there too, a Marvel podcast, and a bunch of other stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun just getting to know other people through the community like this, and I would love to keep in touch and be in the
loop,
the sphere,
rotation,
the loop. Yeah, this is great. Thank you guys for having us.
And we also did 1994 and 2020, so
Right.
we have all that.
You have, and I will say, Abe, I mean, you're going to be back regardless because Abe has officially adopted you guys apparently into the podcast, into our
Right.
podcast.
That's
Because we
good.
are Invisible Man stands. So
You are the
Daddy.
The invisible stands.
the invisible stands, the Abe, the invisible stands.
I do have to pop out though. So I will say
Yes.
good night. Thank you guys so much for having us.
All right, Dylan. And as Dylan has popped out, Chad, where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all around here. I try to do rank 'em every chance I get, if I can make it. I'm doing a lot more with fan league, like trivia around the loop, and I try to rank stuff on Letterboxd, Chadwick Webb. You can find me there, and yeah, we already plugged Picture This, so that's about it.
Awesome. Yes, and that is something. Go watch Picture This. I've only watched the 2021, but go watch it. It's good content. And then Malcolm, where can they find you?
You can find me on Take 3, where I host Rankum every Saturday. This week we're doing top 12 Studio Ghibli movies. You can find me hosting Late Night. It will be back on Sunday,
Yes.
and this week the topic is going to be voice acting performances.
Wait.
That's partly why I put that post on the page the other day.
I see what you did there.
But you can also find me over on Full Metal, where I host Full Metal Random every Tuesday. You can find the 2010s movies match. It will be going up eventually. It's supposed to be live, but because YouTube and Streamdad were being weird, I couldn't go live, but I had to record. I could actually record it, and then so it'll be uploaded later. You can I also host Fauna Classic, and yeah, I'm also on Letterboxd, Twitter, at Malcore, at most places. So yeah.
Malcolm is everywhere in this. He is the you are the entity, Malcolm, everywhere. Just encompass everything.
He's the
And
watcher.
He is you are the watcher. You are the watcher, sir. And Abe, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at AbrahamF25 or Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, and Shrek 2 Love all day, all night. And that's it.
Don't follow you on Facebook.
I actually tweet about Mamma Mia and Shrek regularly.
You do.
Wanna see it.
You legit do. I get those notifications. And then finally, you can find me at Twitter at Cine_man. That is below me at CINE_MANN, as well as on my YouTube channel, Manning Franks. Getting this situated put me behind on some other video essays. But again, this is the last episode. This is the season finale before we take our hiatus for a little bit, because I'm going to focus on some other things. Like we have some other stuff on this channel going on, some stuff on my personal channel I'm going to try to get going until we come back, hopefully sometime in July. So June is going to be a month of relaxation and just kind of getting all our bearings, unless of course an emergency episode happens. So look forward to that. Thank you guys Malcolm.
Well, I was about to say, with all the Golden Globes things, who knows if something gets popping up.
Honestly, yes, because we had an emergency episode before this episode. And again, you can find us here on Take 3, where we have Rankum, of course, and you find me also joining on Late Night. I'm excited. I just found out that was the topic today, so I'm excited about that. And thank you guys again for joining us on this season, this really weird year, but I appreciate you all. What is that, Abe?
Bacteria cultures?
I forgot you're in you're in the sciences as your major. So,
just gotta do something stupid this episode. I haven't done anything today.
You haven't. You have not.
Well, Wonder Woman #1.
But you gave a great defense of it, so we let that pass. This might be the longest episode of Gone with the Wind ever, but that is okay as we kick it off and get ready into the next season of Gone with the Wind coming up, season 4. Thank you guys again for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. And we'll see you guys at the cinema.